Welcome to another episode, man. We here on No Stingy Energy, man. Good morning. We got another crazy show, man. Good show. Women do not need men in 2024. I know a lot of you I've heard before, women saying they don't need men, etc. So we're gonna actually talk about it today. My opinion, I believe women need men. We talked about it on Clubhouse. I agree with Mr. Anthony Glenn. Women need men to build. Women need men for community. Women need men for leadership. Women need men for guidance. So I believe women need men. That's just my opinion. You know what I'm saying? I know Byron's opinion is different. If you can state your opinion, I'd love to hear it. Because at the end of the day, we all need to say what's on our mind, on our heart. So what you feel about this, man? You think women need men? So, and when we talking about need men, we talking about in life, we talking about marriage, we talking about in business. That's what we talking about. So what's your thoughts on that, Byron?
That's a great question. I love the question. I am of the firm belief women do not need men in 2024, 2023, 2020, 2019.
Never.
Women have not needed men for a very long time. And I think that reality is, in my opinion, is what is creating the divide. I think we are doing relationship on 1960s principles where women, in order to do relationships successfully with men, have to diminish all of their capabilities and all of the things that they're able to bring to the table as a result of being able to do relationship. And I'm a firm believer that the facts, not my opinion, right? Not how I move in my life, none of that. The facts say that women do not need men in 2024 and beyond to create relationship. I just firmly believe that. Now, here's the thing. I do believe that women want men. I think they want men, but I feel like if men really want to do relationship with women in 2024 and beyond, I believe men are going to have to move from a premise of how can I make this woman want me more? How can I create better relationship? How can we create better friendship in order to keep this thing going? Because if you depending on a woman needing you in order for you, and all of your little BS ways, all of your BS ways got to be tolerated as a result of you keeping this woman, I think you are sadly mistaken, because these women not only will leave you, right, but they'll also put you in the most compromising situation in terms of financially. If you go through a divorce, if you paying child support, you dividing households, you dividing kids up. It's an ugly situation. So I believe that if men are wanting to do relationship, you're gonna have to move more on making that woman want you, opposed to just expecting that she's gonna stay with you because she needs you. I think we are moving into a different realm, and I think that reality has not been realized. And as a result of that realization not being happening, I think we're having a conflict in relationship right now as a result of that. That's what I believe, based on the facts, not my opinion.
Well, man, we're going to get into it, man. My name is O'Neal Parker, real estate investor, entrepreneur out of Lafayette, Louisiana. I've been investing in real estate since 2016, full-time in 2020. I do all things real estate, love rentals, love passive income. I'm the owner of Leverage to Wealth, teaching people how to leverage what they are currently in life to get wealthy in real estate. So that's me. We
Yes,
got Byron, man. Go ahead, man.
Listen, my name is Byron, real estate investor out of Houston, Texas, primarily focused on the wholesale space, do a little bit of creative finance, fix and flip, new construction, new to the build to rent space. Matter of fact, got another city inspection coming through today on my new construction, getting ready to pour these beams in. I'm just excited, man. I'm excited, man. Also, proud member of the Accelerator program, where we help investors move further, faster, consistently. And I think this is a beautiful thing. But today we're talking about, do women really need men?
Yeah. Hey, man, I'm excited about this conversation, man. We got Di, we got Anthony Glenn, man. What's going on, fellas?
In the building and Dunn in the building. Hey, that boy coming repping the frat. I can dig it. This is gonna be a beautiful discussion. It's gonna be a beautiful discussion.
See the ladies like they scared, man. Where the ladies, man?
Where the ladies, man? Where they at? Oh, we got Dr. O.
Dr. O.
Oh my God.
Oh boy.
Yo, this is gonna be a one for the books. You hear me? My God. All right. Dr. O. I want to go to Dr. O first. We got to go to the ladies.
Ladies first. Good morning.
I'm nervous. Hi, guys.
Don't be nervous. This is the place for you. Don't be nervous.
This is the place. Listen, okay. O believes that women still need men in 2024. Dr. O. I believe women do not need men in 2004. If they want a relationship with men, that's different. I think it's a want situation that we're dealing with in 2024, and absolutely not a need, not based on my opinion, based on the facts. Women are able to do, create, build anything that they want in 2024. And I believe that us trying to build relationship based on women needing men like we did in 1960 is creating a chasm between men and women and our ability to do relationships successfully in 2024. I want to know your opinion on this.
F them men. No, I'm just playing. So I think that,
a lot of people feel that way.
No, I do agree with O. I do. I do understand the point that you're making. I overstand it completely because yes, women couldn't vote, women couldn't drive, women couldn't use the restroom. Like they wouldn't let women use the public restroom. If a woman wanted to use the restroom, she had to go home. This was the basis points of not letting them have jobs. Like this is some sick behavior, right? Because of control. Because women were property. The father giving the daughter away at the wedding is property. That's not a cute little, oh, my daddy walking me down the aisle. No, your daddy was trading you for gold or cows or silver. So it's really sick the way that society has put this thing between women and men. I do believe that from O'Neill's standpoint, I'm not for sure exactly why he's saying that, but from my standpoint, to balance the chaotic behavior, which chaos is beautiful, by the way, for all the people probably tearing me up or whatever, but to balance the chaotic behavior, the natural chaos of a female, there has to be logic. And we have to admit, most women are becoming more logical because they are having to depend on themselves. A lot of the men were out of the household or at war or away from the home. So she had to learn this, AKA masculine behavior, because we have both. But I do think that women need a man from the perspective of emotional support. Women physically, if they do not get a hug, Byron, you're right. If they do not get a hug physically, it messes up their system. Women are supposed to be touched on and rubbed on and felt on, and men too. But don't get me wrong, it really messes up their physiological being not to be affected. They have to have affection, supposedly, and they won't be so hard. It makes them softer and kinder and more open and more vital. So I do think from the perspective of emotional, it's good to have a good man, but needing a man just to be having a man, no, we don't need a man. No.
Oh, Anthony Glenn, what's your thoughts on this? What's your thoughts on this? Let's talk about it.
Hey, you know what, man? When I be listening to people, I think it's be real, man. I think it's some weak ass men out there, bro. I'm just being real. I have to call it what it is because see, this is what I think, man. I personally think that, you know, we're getting further and further away from the traditional role of a man. Now, I'm gonna be honest, and a lot of ladies are not gonna like this, but again, I believe we need men to build. Name me 5 things that a woman has created in the past 10 years.
Wow.
Yo, put in the chat. Put in the chat.
Created.
What? Because there's women construction companies, women truckers, women builders.
That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about Fortune 500 companies that keep our country going.
Nah, that's not a fair assessment because that's still based off of control.
Ooh.
That's based off control, though.
Hold on, Dr. O. I didn't interrupt you when you were talking. Now I'm just saying, like, I kind of feel like
question, bro. You asked the
understand.
question.
I got you. But what I'm saying though is that I'm not trying to discredit women as being, leaders. I'm actually holding the men accountable for not allowing the women to rest. Now, see, the reason why I kind of feel like women are the way that they are is because they don't have a choice. Now, let's think about this in reality, in totality, right? If I'm a boy and I'm getting raised in a family, right, and there's no woman, and the hierarchy of my family is the woman, then what type of behavior do you think as a man that I'm going to inherit?
It'll be a little mushy.
Right. So what I'm thinking, is that, women can only do so much to be in position to raise men. Men need to be around men, and men need to learn from leading men. And I believe that the problem is that there's a lack of men doing what they're supposed to do. I'm not saying that it's the woman's fault. And I actually think that there was a gentleman that was talking on Clubhouse before we got back, and he was complaining about why would a man complain about what a woman thinks if she doesn't, subscribe to your leadership or what you're trying to do. Then I personally feel like you should find a woman that does instead of complaining. That's what I believe. And some people might say, oh man, this is this male chauvinistic stuff. But I actually think it's a man's responsibility is to build and to lead. And when he doesn't do that, he's going to inherit behavior from a woman if he doesn't have any strong men around. And that's why you see women out here, because they don't have an example of what leadership looks like in most cases from a man. So think about it. If I'm raised in an environment where I see women, there's 0 guys that are setting the example, and I can go back to mom and mom is going to bail me out, then that's what it's going to be like. And you know how I know? I have a brother that's just like that. He's 46 years old. You know where he's at? He lives with my mother with his 2 kids. In what scenario is that okay? 2 children, 2 different women. Mom keeps bailing them out. If my father was alive today, that would never happen. And I'm just saying.
What's your thoughts about that, Anthony?
What's that?
What's your honest thoughts about your brother, 42, with 2 kids living with your mom?
He's a weak ass man. And I tell him, I got into it with him the other day. I said, bro, you need to get up out of mom's house, man. Like, you need to stand on your own 2 feet. But you know who I blame for that? I blame her for enabling that behavior because he's not sick.
So you blame your mom for letting them stay there?
Yes. My father would never allow that, bro. If he was alive today, my brother would be outside.
Got to go figure it out.
But real quick though, hey, Anthony, right? So let's look at this. Let's just take you and your brother for an example. You have 2. Do you have any other siblings?
Yeah, I have a sister.
You have a sister. Okay, so let's just look at the 2 men. What we looking at from a reality standpoint is that 2 men grew up in a household. One of them is extremely successful in his own right. The other one is completely unsuccessful and dependent on his mother to help him raise him and his 2 children. Now, we talking about the jungle.
Yeah.
When a woman looking at this 50-50 assessment, right? She only has 2 options to choose from. She got one that's extremely successful, who probably knows he's extremely successful and is not married as a result of probably ridiculous optionality, if we're gonna keep it real, right? And not making that choice. And then the other one would love to be in relationship with her, but he can't provide for her. Those are the options that's happening in the real world. Yeah. So my question is, right? It's not enough of yous going around. They don't even look at the brother, your brother. They can't. That women, most women won't even see your brother. They won't even. They won't even acknowledge that he even exists in the world. Where is the options for women to choose all of these real men that we keep hearing about, right? That will protect, provide, lead, all of these things. Where are these men in reality? The truth is, it's a small percentage of those men. Those men know that they are those men, right? And it's not enough of them to go around to all of the women. And what about, so the question is, do women really need men in 2024? If this is the case, if this is the reality, not my opinion, not what I think, this is just what the data bears out. What's your thoughts on that?
My thoughts are, yes, I still believe that women, I completely agree with there's not enough. I believe that there's not enough men that are there. But I mean, also, because where are the examples at, bro? I mean, let's really think about it right now. Look at the app and how many African American men are actually leading on the app. Majority of them are in this room right now. You got a couple of people out there, Jonathan Bings. You got the different people that are out there that are doing what they're supposed to do with taking care of their family and setting the example. But see, also, like I said before, I'm a victim of that environment, bro. I was raised with my brother. He's my stepbrother. It's my stepmother's son. I kind of feel like I still believe that women need men to build and to lead so they can rest. Like, man, come on, think about it. At the end of the day,
Here's the thing, though, Anthony. Here's the thing. Not to cut you off, but here's the thing: the men who they need to do those things, are they willing to commit? Being that they are in extremely high demand in most cases, right?
Oh, yeah, you're right.
So women are not getting the men that we quote unquote say that they need. Women aren't even getting those men because those men are occupied.
But why
Right?
aren't they getting those men though? Because they don't want to help. I believe they're not getting these men because they don't want to help. Honestly, you know, this is another thing too. There's a fine line between I kind of feel like when men are out here doing their thing, the reason why I feel like there's conflict is because, for one, that their plight of building is not high enough for a woman to come in and be in support of that man's growth. Typically, her goals, a lot of men don't have big enough goals, so of course it's going to be conflict. So if I kind of feel like another thing too, like if a woman, into what I hear on the app right now is that a man, the man has to do A, B, C, D, E, F, G in order to get with me. But then when you ask the
They got a
woman's
whole
value,
list.
yeah, man got a whole list. But then when you ask what the woman's value, okay, so what value do you bring? Are you going to add? What is your value? Just that simple question.
Struggle to answer the question. She struggled to
Yeah.
answer the question.
Then it's he and han and dee dotty dee, and
Face and sex. That's it.
yeah. So if a woman can answer the value question, I never hear majority of the time when we ask that question, we have to lead to the answer. But again, at the end of the day, man, it's the man also, bro. Because if a man's not strong enough to deal with what he's inherited, right? If you have a woman who has a strong woman raising her, which is nothing wrong with that, but then she inherits, you don't need no man. You could be independent, you could do X, Y, and Z. And then you show up as a man that's leading, that's trying to do what he's supposed to do. It's hard for women to rest in that man's leadership because they see their mom leading, they see their grandmother leading, they see, there's it's always been hierarchy of the woman in the family. There's no man around. So how do you expect for a woman to be able to rest in that man's leadership? I'm just
I
asking.
think what's going on is the women are getting so strong. Like some of the men are used to that. Like a lot of men can't lead strong women these days. And I think men are getting a lot weaker because they got to work harder to provide, because not a woman is making 80,000. And the man, of course, was cool with making the 80,000 when he had a lady that was only making 40. Once he give it a lady that make 80 or 100, he feel less than, because he don't want to work harder to get a better job. He don't want to work harder to provide, or he don't want to be like, look, I know you're making a lot more money, but you still got to lead as a man. You got to figure out how can you be the leader of your household. But a lot of men are lazy. They cool with the job. They too comfortable. And the ladies just take off, and the man he look weak because he comfortable where he at. He playing the game. He want to go out with the boys. He want to go drink. He want to go take shots. And he's not at home trying to figure out how could he provide better for his family. How could he have better leadership? And I think that's what's going on.
I want to hear what Don, and then I want to get to Oteven and Dr. O take on this, because I mean, we're dealing with facts. And I think that's where the dilemma is. We have data, right? And then we have ideas. And I think the ideas are not matching with the facts. And that's where we having a conflict. At least I'm having a conflict because I'm a data-driven guy, right? Not again, this is not personal, right? I'm just looking at the facts. So, Don, what's your take on this? I know that you've been successfully married for many years.
Long time.
And what's your take on these changes in society? And yeah, what's your overall take on where we are with declining marriages, declining relationships in general? What's your take on that?
Well, good morning, Byron and O'Neill, and everybody. Listen, I've been married for 22 years. I'm still trying to figure it out, and I'm serious. You know, I'm trying to position myself now to understand human behavior. How do I position myself for growth? And the main thing is, Byron, I didn't come into the world knowing any of this about relationships, human behavior, how to nurture a relationship. Basically, we come into this world being selfish. So if your overall idea is to be selfish and to look out for number one, that does not allow you to be successful in a relationship. So what do? You have to, that information comes from outside, whether you go to a seminar, whether you read it in a book, whether it's modeled for you. And so we're still trying to figure it out. So if I can put myself in a position to understand human behavior from a female and from a male perspective, I got some notes here. How do I start responding to life instead of reacting to life? And make some intentional decisions so that I can be the best person I can be. And I'm not trying to ride the fence here or cop out. What I'm trying to say is I don't have all the answers. I'll never have all the answers. But what I want to do is to be able to say, okay, what am I doing to live my best life? And how can I be a great partner in this marriage? You know, what do I have to do to make a life that is flourishing, that's doing better, that's contributing to society and making it better? So I got a couple of questions. Am I contributing to society if I can work, take care of the bills, take care of the wife, make sure that the lights are on and there's food on the table, but I can't be faithful to my wife? Am I contributing to society if that's what I'm doing? And it took me a long time to figure this out, Byron, that A person who is faithful to their relationship is rare, and it hurt me to realize that a person being faithful to a relationship, to a marriage relationship where you promised to be faithful, very few people are accomplishing that. And for me, that contributes to a breakdown in an understanding what it means to need. And right now, I just need to define the word. Can we define that word, need, and then we can have a better conversation? Because when you say it, you're thinking of one thing. I'm hearing another, and a female out there may be hearing it a different way. But how do you define need? And then maybe I can come back and say something else.
I guess when I say need, right, when I'm looking at the word need, I'm thinking of put like this. I need to make income to pay my bills, to be able to maintain my lifestyle. I need a vehicle, right, to get to my job site in a timely and convenient fashion, right? I need air to breathe. I need water to drink. Those are needs. And I think that in 1950, women needed men because there was a lot of things that women just weren't capable of doing. And I think we're moving into a society where women don't need men. They want men, but they don't need men for their basic survival. They don't need men to provide income for them to be able to do all of the things that they would want to do or not do, right? And as a result of that, I just believe that it is creating a rift, because here's why I believe it's creating a problem. Because women don't need men, but men are still operating as if women need men. Two things are going to happen as a result of that. Number one, women are going to either diminish themselves in order to prop up some man's ego, right, when they don't necessarily have to, or two, or two, she's going to be in a situation to where she's going to have to deal with things that she probably wouldn't have wanted to deal with, right? Because she feels like, put like this, she's not going to be willing to deal with a lot of the things that women in 1940s dealt with, right? She's not going to deal with those things in 2024. So the divorce rate is going to continue to increase. Women are going to continue to lead in divorce filings, because at the end of the day, she don't have to put up with any of the junk that men are wanting women to sign up for. She just don't have to do it because there's not a need for her survival. Now, if it was a need for her survival, it was a lot of women that put up with a lot of stuff. And they were cool with it. And they went on and led happy lives, raised successful families as a result of it. But that option was not on the table in terms of them having that option readily available at the go to be able to just leave and then just live a productive life after the fact. That is my definition of need. Does that kind of give clarification?
Yeah, it does. It does. So, but from that standpoint, Byron, the premise was wrong in the beginning, meaning that if a woman needing a man meant that she had to put up with his crap, then that premise is wrong. Because from a traditional, so I come from a traditional Christian background. And so if I can speak on that a minute, and I know that's not everybody's background, but it's my background. So, and I'm not saying everybody needs to think like me. I'm just saying this is where I'm coming from. That if I'm coming to this relationship thinking that because I'm a man, I'm entitled. Because I'm a man, I can do whatever I want. And so women need to follow wherever I'm going. That does not create a situation where both people can flourish. In my marriage, my whole goal is to realize who I'm with and how can I contribute to her life so that she can be the best person she can be, because I'm not acting out in a way that diminishes her focus. Okay, so her focus is how can she be the best person she can be? All right. But if I'm out here in the street chasing after some other skirt, now her focus has been directed to an unfaithful husband. If her focus is on the fact that I'm not just I'm not between jobs, I'm not even looking for a job. If her focus is there, then now she's saying that does not contribute to a great situations so that we can build a life together, because I'm not even trying to contribute. Her focus is off. So what can I do? What can I do, Byron, to put myself, be the kind of man I need to be, so that no, she doesn't need mess, but she does, human nature says she does need companionship. She does need caring. She does need affection. So those are some needs that I can look forward to, that I can contribute to. But if the original premise was women need men to take care of them, then the premise was wrong from the beginning.
Okay.
Like Anthony Green got something to say. What you got, Anthony?
What woman wants to go, okay, let me give you an example. What woman wants to go out here, build houses, I'm talking about actually build physical labor, right? Lead their household, raise their children, make the money, and everything is interdependent on herself. Like, I kind of feel like we keep going away from, women being able to rest in the comfort of having a man that is a protector. Let's go back to COVID, right? Where all of this stuff was going on. Now, I believe that, I still go back to the thing where men are supposed to build. Like, and I think that we get so far away from the traditional things of being right now, if somebody was to break into this house, okay, and my children were here, okay, which they're sleeping right now, I'm not going to be standing behind my lady to protect my family. Like, that's what I'm talking about. Now, is that going on today? Absolutely. It's still going on. And I'm not saying that it's an everyday thing, but I kind of feel like, yes, I don't care what anybody says. I don't care how independent a woman is. Women are going to need men. Now, I'm talking about the creation of pretty much everything that is in the world today, right? Our responsibility is to build, lead, protect, and provide. It's simple. And anything outside of that, rearing children, raising men to be leaders, all of that stuff, that's why women need men. Now, a lot of ladies might disagree with that. A lot of people might say that, oh man, you know what? I don't need a man to raise my son. Okay. Okay. Yeah. I cannot teach my daughter how to be a woman because I'm not one. I can only set the example of a man of how she is supposed to be treated by men. But what I can do is I can influence how my son is raised and how he's supposed to, provide and protect his family. That comes from men. And if a man doesn't teach a man how to be a man, then society's going to teach a man how to be a man.
Yeah, I get it.
You don't want that.
Yeah, I get it. I want. Here's the thing. I'm still struggling with the numbers, though. I get where everybody's coming from. I get the idealism. I get the positive
numbers you
vibe.
talking about, though?
Man, I'm talking about the numbers that we just don't have enough of these men just around like that in the jungle. I'm talking about real world stuff. not theoretical. Well, okay, let me talk to Dr. O real quick. Oteven.
Dr. O been spitting, man. She been spitting in the
I want to hear Oteven real quick, because I just want to. Are you with us right now?
I am, but I'm actually willing. I'm dying to hear what Dr. O has to say first. So let her speak, and then I'll step in.
Okay, all right.
She need a man to change that
Dr.
battery.
Actually, I need a man to do a whole lot of things right now. If you see, once I put this camera on, I'm physically doing the labor on Tony, and no, I don't want to be doing this shit. But carry on.
So, Dr. O, I mean, what are you seeing in reality when you're talking to your sisters, your aunts, your cousins, your nieces? What are you seeing in the real world? Again, we're talking real world, not theoretical, not BOB, not the clubhouse, not, this environment, not the conferences you go to. Because I know you probably yourself, interface in a lot of high level circles. I'm talking about outside of those circles. When you're back in the real world, what are you seeing in reality? Does any of these high level things that we're espousing on this show today, do you see that in reality?
Only in certain cultures. So this is a great topic because there's a little misogyny going on today. Okay, thinking that, a guy builds a house, he's a protector, he can do these things. They're talking about his actions, which are beneficial. And no, I don't think, for the sake of biology and science, which comes to our mathematical equation, obviously we need both sexes. So I think that's moot. So yes, men are strengthened, stronger than women physically. They're more innate to look around and see stuff that women may not catch when it comes to threats. They're more built and suited for protection. So we've got to give them honor that they do matter. Okay, they matter. But I'm thinking this conversation is about needing that to matter in my personal life, right? So when I look at groups like, are we dating the same guy, Dallas? Are we dating the same guy, Houston? Are we dating the same girl, Atlanta? Are we dating? These dating sites tell you a lot of information because you have over hundreds of thousands of people, aka data. So you have hundreds of thousands of people complaining about the exact same things. These are rich women, poor women, black women, white, blah, 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 all the cultures, right? So you've got all the cultures literally copying and pasting, saying the same thing. Okay, about men, by the way. So I go in these groups and I research these groups. I work with a group of white women to understand the difference between their men and our men. There are absolutely none. They beat, cheat, steal, lie. They love, they protect, they provide. It's all the same on the good side and the bad side, okay? So I've done a lot of research of what Byron's talking about in the numbers. When it comes to the Hispanic culture or the Indian culture or most Asian cultures, you'll see what I think Brother Anthony is talking about. You'll see more of the normalcy of the misogynistic tone or the masculine leadership tone or the hierarchy of males doing the male things and women doing the female things, aka most of those women have the ability to rest. Whereas when you start creeping into the African culture or the black or darker nations, that's not the same. Women were the matriarchs. Women were the ones more like the lions. She does the hunting. The clownfish, she does the hunting. Certain animal kingdoms is where the women kind of go out there and do what the men think they're supposed to be doing, right? And they eat first and all this other stuff, and there's no problem. So it depends on the culture. That's number one. Number two, in the need of a man. A woman specifically, any woman here can tell you her needs of a man, and they're going to be different per female based off how she was raised. And my need for a man may not be the same. So the women in our family have all been married 30 plus years. Are they happy? No. Do they cheat? Yes. Yes. Do they cheat? Yes. Does Aunt Patricia still need Uncle Tony? Of course, she's not going to get up there and change the light bulb and potentially kill her fine, sexy self. Let him go do it, right? So there are those things to where, yes, I need a man, but do I need that specific man? And do I need only that man? There's so many different things when we talk about needs because we're talking about physical, emotional, all these other things. So yes, I've been in the groups, the high circles. Most of those women know they don't need a man. It's more to Byron's perspective. They want a good man. They want a good relationship. They want to be good women. However, they don't need a man because we can pay the dude down the street to come and fix the light bulb. We can pay the pool guy. We can pay the so-and-so. So when money gets involved, that need for certain things of a man can be exchanged for the transaction of money. That's the data that Byron is talking about. Money can start to pull away from the need for protection from my spouse. And a lot of guys that are in a relationship with a woman with money sees that she has security. So she don't need him for security. They see that she has the fence guy and the pool guy and all the guys. So she doesn't necessarily need him to do that. She wants him around because that's who she's attracted to, whom she loves, who she's trying to build with emotionally and spiritually and other leads, right? So she's needing her man for different things besides the societal basis points that Don was talking about. These society things that they say we need each other for they're wrong from the get-go. But what I've seen in other cultures, most of the Hispanic women that I deal with, and these are the ones that speak no English, okay? I don't know about Americanized Hispanic people, but the ones that come from Mexico, they need their man, okay? They're not going to make it without him. There are some Indian women who will not make it without their man. It's just not going to happen because that's how they were built. Black women weren't built that way. Close your legs, get to work, put your head down, we were taught different things. Don't let no man come in here and such and such. We were taught different things. Or if we do have a man, fix his food, have sex with him, all the things that you're supposed to do as a woman, but don't let him come in here controlling who you are as a woman. We've been taught certain ideals that skew these numbers and data that Byron is talking about. So from the perspective of the room, now that I have more understanding, no, women absolutely do not need a man for certain societal reasons that the society has taught us. We've been groomed, programmed through religion, politics, and different other epithets to need a man for certain things that we can really do on our own. And no, I'm not building a house. But most of the men on Clubhouse aren't building a house either. I mean, they're not going to do it either. We hire people to do that. Even if you're not super duper rich, you still hire people for certain things that you won't do. So I can't say that we as women in a relationship need a house building, cave driving man. We need a man carrying a gun, spitting out his tobacco. That's not my idea of the need of a man. I think that we need to identify real examples in this room of women in this room of what they really need from a man to get the real data from this particular room in order to have a real discussion, because the misogyny is kind of bubbling a little bit. But the females are a little quiet. So I hear Curtis in the chat. I see people in the chat. They're kind of tipping on what we're starting to. Our need from a man, based on Don's perspective, which we absolutely love, Don, thank you, is different. It's been programmed in us to need a man for certain things. We've been programmed to need a man for certain things that I don't think are real, and that's why a lot of these relationships are not working, or the math isn't mathing, because people are talking a lot of noise on Clubhouse and social media and YouTube and stuff. But then when I go to their house, a lot of the brothers that I know here, not here in this room, I'm sorry, here in Clubhouse, I go to their personal lives and it's nothing like what they're saying on Clubhouse. You're cheating and slapping.
What's been going on?
They lying. I know these men. They call my phone and tell me the truth. They get on Clubhouse and say something, then they call me and be like, Dr. O, I need such and such. Your woman should be doing this for you, sir. What do you have her around for? Why are you calling me? I got my own stuff I need to do. So I'm just saying that this is a little, the conversation is necessary and mandatory, and I actually love it. But I think we need to start asking the women in this room what their needs for a man are to get real data in this particular room, so we can have a real discussion here, and then maybe we can take that to another level. But right now it's kind of like talking.
I want to ask
if y'all women put in the chat, what do y'all need from a man?
What do y'all need from a man? Yeah, I want to know. Let
me I just want to say this, Tony. What Dr. O is talking about, what I'm perceiving, is there's a certain level of vulnerability that you are asked, that would you'd have to be able to experience to say what you really think and feel and understand. Do we have that level of vulnerability to say what I'm really looking for? because do I feel that this is a safe space to be that vulnerable and talk about what's really going on inside me in public? Or do I need to call Dr. O in private and then share what I really think?
Man, I just know that a lot of men get on these apps, and I'm just keeping it real. They gonna talk. And I'm just keeping it real because I just want to have an honest conversation so men don't come for me. I just want to be honest. A lot of men get on these apps, they talk all this good stuff, but they still gonna have them a couple women on the side. They still gonna do the things that they do, especially if they select men, right? A lot of them, right? Not all of them, but a lot of them are gonna still do what they do. So it's like at the end of the day, are you really like moving like you speaking, you move in reality? Like that's the question. And so listen, man, I want to hear from Oteven real quick and get her feedback, and then we gonna announce Princella in the building. We got Princella in the building coming up next. Oteven, what's your thoughts on this conversation?
Great conversation. Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Okay. I love everything that Dr. O said, as usual, which is why I wanted her to speak first. But I guess when you say need, right? Like in the context of the conversation, I guess we don't need them, because everything I'm doing right now physically I can do, but I would prefer a man be doing them, which is why, Tony addressed it the way he did. But I do think for me, what we need in a person changes from time to time. But overall, I'm glad, was it Uncle Don, he used the word vulnerability. So if I'm being totally transparent right now, for me, that's what I would need, is because I don't need the physical things, obviously. I mean, I would love the assistance, but to say need, then that's it's not mandatory. But these days, when it comes to women having feminine energy or allowing a man to lead or just needing a man, a lot of it's already been said, but feminine energy comes in rest, and a lot of us are not able to rest, which is why I'm doing what I'm doing right now, physically, for many different reasons. For me right now, it's just vulnerability. I recently lost my brother 5 days before my birthday, a few months ago. And this is in the midst of doing this project that I'm doing now, as far as renovating my house. And I've been happily single for quite some time. And so I think in this space, I felt like the only thing that I was missing in that moment is I just needed a place of comfort. Like Uncle Don said, I needed a place where I knew it was safe for me to just, be vulnerable. And a lot of times you don't have that in relationships, especially the way it's projected in society or on social media for that matter, which is why I'm not usually on the camera or vocal, because I feel like there's a lot of bullshit that happens or is said. Like Dr. O says, a lot of people on here capping, but it is what it is. So that's kind of like my brief take on it. But feminine energy comes in rest, and we all have masculine and feminine energy. Me personally, I haven't been able to do much rest. So these days I give a lot more masculine energy, but I'm looking to be in a space where I could be vulnerable. And I think we all need that. So that's kind of like my take on it right now. As far as needs, they're not always.
So you just need a man for peace and comfort. That's what you're saying?
Say that again.
So you just need a man for peace and comfort.
I think we all need somebody for peace, right? Because everybody says, "Oh, I need somebody to be my peace." But me personally, I don't need you to be my peace. What I need you to do is not disturb mine.
Oh shit.
Well,
that's being honest.
Lord, I had to come off mute for that. Listen, that was whoa.
Yeah.
Yes. That's exactly what we're talking about. Boom.
Listen, shout out. We got Lady B in the building as well. But listen, I want to get to our special guest of the evening. I mean, of the morning. What am I talking about? Evening. Yeah, my God. Morning time. I'm so used to having these conversations at night. But our special guest, we got Princella in the building. I know she has a very different take on this, and very different take from what we hear in a traditional sense of relationship, right? Princella, are you with us right now? Is Princella with us? She may be. Okay, let me see. Hold on. We'll come back to Princella. But before we do that, Lady B, what's your take on this? Let me hit up Princella.
At least y'all mute.
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you now.
Yeah.
Okay.
Can't
Yeah,
hear you now.
I had to turn my other mic on.
Had to turn the other mic on.
Yes.
Were you on camera before?
No.
She was on camera.
Okay. So, Princella, what's your take on this conversation? You know, we've had conversations about this topic before.
Mm-hmm.
In terms of, do women need men in 2024? Do they, want men in 2024? And what is your take in general in terms of women needing a man in 2024?
Well, women have never needed men biologically. They have never needed men, but men have always needed women, because the basis of life in humanity is about passing the genes along. The female doesn't have to concern herself about being able to pass her genes along. But the male, this is his biological fear that he won't be able to pass his genes along. The male's biological fear is survival of the fittest. If you left males in the wild without human interference, most males would fail at surviving, because most males are not the fittest, which means that women have the power and have always had the power to determine which male got the chance to pass his genes along. So when you understand the biological basis of life and understand the difference between males and females at their core, you can understand where male fear comes from. So out of that grew structures, sociological structures that have shaped themselves to help men survive. These structures don't have anything to do with women. It has everything to do with making a perfect world for men. So you have to go back into the history of everything, but a lot of people tend to ignore science. They ignore changes in environment. They ignore changes in time, and they all focus on living in a perfect fantasy world that appeals to their desire to seem to be good people. So this is a psychological issue where people are really having this discussion where it really don't make no sense. Because even if you look at times as they've changed, every time that there is a change in an environment, there is change in human behavior. There is change in the structures that work for that particular environment. We are in a new era where things are changing, and the dynamics of people's interactions are also changing. But because historically the systems have been structured to facilitate male existence, this is the first time in a long time where the system and the structures are not centered around catering to male existence. And men are panicking because historically they have been given women. They have been given access to women. The systems have strategically stripped women of their ability to provide for themselves. They have strategically kept women out of education. All of these things, which are unnatural, were suited to help men survive. Now, men are having to level up and actually stand on their own, and they can't do it. They are begging women and bullying women to try to keep them lower so that they can feel needed. The basis of men's biology makes them depend on women for validation, because men need women to pass their genes along. They need women. Women, on the other hand, they come from they all have mitochondrial DNA, which is eternal. It's passed down from mother to daughter. The only way that a male can survive is by passing his Y gene down. He needs a woman to do that. And he needs, he needs a woman to do that. And he needs several opportunities to pass that Y gene along. Because of that, it makes men have to try to dominate, possess, and control women as a resource to them. So men will try to convince women that they need them as much as men need women. When we talk about need, we literally talk about something essential for a person to live. You don't need men as women, because the oldest species on the planet reproduced asexually by copying themselves, and women have always had that parthenogenetic gene within them. At this particular time, it is turned off. It's not that it can't be reactivated, because it is there. So by copying self, right, that means you actually have to be a whole version of self. The male has never been able to function that way. So because of that reality, men are not whole within themselves. They actually need women. And when we say need, we're talking about something essential to thrive, something essential to survive. You need water. You need air. You need that. The male needs the woman as much as he needs water and food. And this is what women do not understand. And so the thought of losing access to women is making men continue to push a narrative and convince women that they need them as much as men need the women. Why would they do that? Because men are so ego driven that they don't want to just bow down and be like, I need a woman, because at the end of the day, it's about power. So they shift the conversation and they shift everything into the hands of a woman to mentally mess with her, drop her confidence, to make her believe that she needs him, which alters women's ability to select appropriate mates. Right. So they're starting to select any and every kind of guy because they're looking for quote unquote love. They're looking for somebody to take over their God-given duties. Men's biological purpose has never been to provide or protect. The only reason that everybody keeps saying provide or protect, because that's actually the duty of a woman. She actually thrives at doing these things, and men struggle to do them. The only reason why society is set up like that is to give the male some type of responsibility to justify his existence. Without him doing something besides having sex, eating, which is the core of a male's existence, eating, sleeping, and sex, right? Without that, the male becomes reckless and he becomes useless. So what they did historically was took women's rights away to provide for themselves and gave that responsibility to the male. He's been failing at that because when you force people to do something, they typically reject it. Most of these guys don't want to be forced to function in a family. They don't want to be forced into monogamy. That's the elites who set up this system telling men, this is your duty. And a lot of them are failing because naturally that was what women were doing.
Mm.
I want to hear from Anthony, man.
Anthony, what's your thoughts
Anthony,
on this?
what's your thoughts on that, Anthony?
Well, what it sounds like to me, okay, I'm gonna ask Dr. O and her. Do you have? Were you raised by your father?
Are you talking to me? Yeah, my father was in my life.
Oh,
Were you raised by your father? Did your father raise you?
Let me ask you this question.
No, answer the question. I'm asking you a simple question. I'm asking a simple. Listen. I'm asking a simple question. Were you raised by your father?
I'm not going to argue with you. I'm asking the relevance. I'm asking the relevance, which I have every right to do, because what I just told you, sir. Yeah, because what I just told you, sir, was objectivity. Okay. I talked about science. So what I'm not going to do is let somebody take an objective conversation and try to flip it into something subjective. So if we can't stay,
I'm not offended. I'm
right?
just asking
No, because you're asking me about my personal life, which is irrelevant to what I just talked about. So
okay,
if you cannot ask me about scientific stuff,
just so you don't want to answer the question.
No, I'm not going to answer the question, because you're not going to push me into a subjective conversation. So you can, y'all dudes do this. And I didn't get up this morning. I didn't get up this morning for that.
Can I talk, please? If you don't want to answer the question, just say you don't want to answer it. That's fine. Okay, so this is what I think. Okay. Now, based off of that conversation, based off of what she just said, the long soliloquy that I just heard, it sounds like to me that you feel that the hierarchy of any type of relationship should be woman then man. Am I wrong on that?
I'm telling you what it is naturally and what it is logically.
No, I'm asking you.
Males come second. Yes, they do. Males come second. Okay.
I don't have any other further questions.
All right.
Now I'm gonna. Okay, so there is no version of me. Okay, so this is how I feel. Women, a relationship between a woman and a man. Okay, I heard words like bow down, misogyny, all of these things. That doesn't sound like anyone that values what a man brings to the table. Now, let me tell you what I believe.
I didn't say nothing about bow down.
I didn't interrupt you while you were talking. You talked for 17 minutes, didn't interrupt you once. So you're reacting to what I'm saying. Let me finish before you go jumping in. You got to hear all the way through. Okay. So this is how I feel. Okay. Women and men, if women knew their value to a man, then there would be no version of a man saying that he doesn't need a woman, because we do need women. And I believe that women need men. Who do you believe the most powerful person in the White House is right now? The First Lady. Do you know why the First Lady is important? Because her position is like a chessboard. I've said this over and over again. She knows when Biden is sick, disappointed, all of those things. What's really going on with him, insecure, all of that. The woman is like the queen on the chessboard. She has the most power because she can move up, down, left, right, side to side. But at the same time, the hierarchy of the kingdom is the king and then the queen. But the queen provides wise counsel to the king. She sees things that he doesn't see. So she's very, very important. But at the end of the day, man, all of that mumbo jumbo and bow down and all of that other stuff. Okay, the reason why I asked about the father situation is because girls need their father. So does men. So when people say, I don't need a man, okay, the man is supposed to provide the example of how girls are supposed to be treated. That's the first example. The first person that a woman should love is her father. Now, if there's a bad example of that, then the next person should be whoever steps up to the plate and provides that leadership for them. But this is the problem. Again, I can listen to the conversation and see how much value that men provided in these women's life, how they negate the power and the love, security of a man. Now, people might disagree with that, but my daughter needs me. I'm the example. I'm the first example of how she's supposed to be loved. Okay? My son needs me because I set the example of how he's supposed to run and lead his family and accomplish things, navigate through conflict, how he's supposed to hold himself upright, how he's supposed to communicate and respect people. And we keep getting further and further and further away from that because we keep clashing. You are equally as important as me. Women are equally as important, but there's no version of a man not needing a woman and a woman not needing a man. It's just, everybody needs a woman. Men need women and women need men. But when I hear things like misogyny because a man says that he's supposed to lead and provide a safe haven for his family and set the example, set the tone, and provide direction for the family. Right now, I can put 10 women out in the crash, and I can ask a question. You have a gun, shelter, and fire. Which one is the most important? You wouldn't be able to answer that question. Men are supposed to lead, protect, and provide. And what was crazy about that whole thing is that she said that if men get out in the wilderness, man, if I put some of these ladies out here, and I'm not saying that this would happen today, but come on, man. Like, innately, the men are going to step up and try to protect their family. That's what they're going to do. And women will do the same thing. However, I think if I was in a situation, I would want to step up to the plate and provide shelter and protection for my family. And you ask a woman with children if she needed a man, if some things was to go down, she would say yes. If somebody broke into my house, I would rather a man be here than not be here. Let's stop the nonsense, man. Come on.
Hey, and Princella, before you respond, let's hear from Dr. O real quick. What's your thoughts on that, Dr. O?
I don't know. I feel attacked. No, I'm just playing. So
exactly. Come on, Dr. O.
I know. No. First of all, I love your heart. I love your heart, and I love your masculine energy, and I love the balance, because a lot of men don't balance. You do balance. So when I talk about misogyny, I'm talking about viewpoint, not necessarily you as a person. Mm-hmm. When I talk about misandry, which is what the other sister was leaning on, it's the one better than the other, or I guess it was from your comment stating that women don't get to build Fortune 500 companies, but women have been. I guess that was just a different analogy that of course, women aren't going to build a house, or that's not going to be the norm to pick up, nails and hammers. I have a son, I have a daughter. My son has built houses, floors, all the things that construction boys do since he was young. It's his natural inclination. Nobody taught him. He just went out there naturally and did it. My daughter, you'll see her drawing beautiful pieces of art worth thousands of dollars. And it's a softness behind it. So yes, on that point, yes. But when it comes to money, I do believe that women have been oppressed and suppressed and depressed, just like Black men have as well, to not be where they need to be financially so someone else could have control. That's the misogynistic tone on when it comes to how many women have built Fortune 500 companies. That's unfair to use that analogy. But yes, when it comes to building physically, strength, guns, that is not, I have guns because my daddy taught me how to use guns, because yes, I have a father, but I have guns. But no, I don't think the women that hang around me with their little cute purses have guns. No, I don't believe that women would naturally go for a gun and shoot someone upside their head. That wouldn't be a normal thing. So I do agree with you there. However, when it comes to what the sister was saying through science and mathematics, which was what Byron asked for data, when it comes to data, she was giving out data, even if it was emotionally triggering. She was providing scientific data based off of us being here. And no, I do not. I understand her personal belief. I understand exactly why she comes from that belief of, women are first and men are second. I do not subscribe to that. And yes, I did have a father, and both my mother and my father to this hour were as vital in my life. And I understand the power. He wasn't my biological father, but I didn't find that out until 40. I'm 45. So I didn't even know that was my dad. But the man that they presented as my father, what he did, I understand the difference between me and a lot of my sisters that don't have fathers. There is a big difference in the way we perceive men, treat men. In most cases, not all, because some women still treat men very well, even if they didn't have a father. So to continue to use that, that's the first thing Kevin Samuels and all these other weird guys would try to pull. Did you have a daddy? Like, that is the synthesis of us being good women because we had a dad or we didn't. I believe that sometimes when people throw that out there, again, that's basing on, well, you didn't have a father in your life, that's why you're a whore. That's not always true, because some girls have daddies and be whores too, right? Or, you act like that, you're sensitive, boy, because you was raised by your mama. That's not always true. Some fathers try to raise their boyish sons to be men, and it doesn't work because that boy just came out that way. So when we throw out, did you have a dad? Was your dad in your life? Why? So I do understand how that can be like offensive. Like, what does that even matter? My viewpoints came from experience. Life itself has taught me a lot of stuff. I've researched, I study, I go to school, I learn, and I hang around people. I do data. So I'm this way, not because I didn't have a father or I did have a father. I'm this way also because I've chosen to educate myself. So when you ask that type of question, that's why I throw out the misogyny. Most men try to attack strong women, trying to figure out our personal. Do you have a man? Do you have a husband? Do you have a father? As if that doesn't equate to the conversation. We're trying to be here to answer questions just like everybody else. So to come at us on a personal level may rise a question of why you're asking that. I don't mind it. I love it. And I love explaining to people, yes, I had a dad. Yes, I've had a husband. I've been married. I'm choosing to be single now. But yes, I've been married. I loved marriage. I appreciate marriage. But why do I have to do all that just because I think a certain kind of way? So no, brother, I don't think you're misogynistic. I'm thinking that some of the conversations are programmed misogyny.
Why are you choosing to be single, Dr. O?
Because I want to get me together. I want to be that great person. I want to make sure that I'm not pouring out my ego. I want to make sure that my ego doesn't have control over my thought processes when someone asks me a question. I want to make sure that I'm doing what's right for me spiritually. I want to make sure that I'm in a certain space and mindset. I have a certain amount of debt that I want to utilize and expense out. I want different things to happen for me financially as well. There's a lot of personal stuff that I don't want to bring into a relationship because I've noticed a lot of people do bring their baggage. Some people can handle that. My sister and her husband, 28 years, 30 years together, 28 married. They brought everything into the marriage and they're still together. I have brought stuff in marriage. Other people have brought stuff in marriage. I don't want that for me. I've learned to be like, okay, there's some things I can fix on my own that I know that I've been working with. Good stuff too, not just the bad stuff. There's some good stuff that I want to kind of capitalize on. And I'm choosing that because I've never been single, Byron, ever in my life. I've never been single since I was 16 years old. I've never been single. So I was like, I want to get myself together and get some things together personally and provide a better soundness, that peace that sister was talking about earlier, so that I can understand. And I didn't set boundaries. And I always allowed a man to choose, because he who finds a good wife obtains favor from the Lord, and the man should choose the wife, and the man find the wife. He who findeth the wife findeth the good thing. And so I allowed everybody to choose, and I never chose back, and that just wasn't good for me. So I'm doing this for me for the first time being single ever in my life, and I like it. I enjoy it. I appreciate it. I used to be embarrassed. I would never say this publicly. I would never tell anybody I was single. At them little intervals of when I was like, as far as changing out men, I would never really even admit that because I hated the idea of being single. But now I understand it. It's important. It's vital. It's cool. I like it. So it's for me and my husband. And I'm working on a lot of stuff that where our assets are going to be able to help us out. So we don't have these little stupid arguments about 50-50. It wouldn't even matter. I'll take care of it all. It wouldn't matter. Of course, men don't like that. Some men don't like that. But at least I would be able to if I needed.
Ooh,
I like Dr. O.
A lot was said, man. A lot was said.
I love
I
your
want to know
mind.
Princella's
It's
take on
Priscilla,
that.
yeah. What's your thoughts about all this, Priscilla? A lot was said on both sides. So, Dr. O and
I will go starting from old boy first. So off the rip, he responded to me based on what Dr. O said, which was out of line because he wasn't actually listening to me. He responds with, oh, I heard misogyny, which didn't come out of my mouth. And I heard bow down, which did not come out of my mouth. So
Yes,
he gets up here to respond to Dr. O, who just admitted that she was the one that said those things because I spoke about science. Then he proceeds to say, well, I feel. Objectivity is not about feeling. Subjectivity is. And I'm not interested in having a conversation rooted in feelings. When it comes to Dr. O, she said the last part of what she said was critical to her overall point of view. Never being single and being attached to men since she was 16 and just now being single, which has shaped her perception on needing men because she's always been attached to them, right? So it goes in to disregard the objective facts. I don't want to speak about nothing but the facts, because if y'all think that these books behind me are just decoration, you are sadly mistaken. So if I'm going to be in a conversation with a bunch of people talking about how they feel about something, when clearly when you can look out into the world and see that something ain't right, and all this same conversations that people have been having for the last 10 to 15 years publicly on social media ain't working, to do the same thing over and over again, expecting a different result, is the definition of insanity. So what people speaking from subjective points of view that disregard the facts and the data, it's just a conversation that I can't have, because I'm not basing this on whether I had a daddy in my life or whether I've been with men all of this time and and me helping men feel needed. If men want to feel needed, then guess what? It's their jobs to show that they're needed, not to convince women to speak for them, not to convince women to tell everybody else, I need my man so much. I need my man so much. Look at the world, right? So when you look at the Black community, there's a scientific and sociological explanation for the behavior that you see. There's a reason why men are behaving in the ways that they behaving. There's a reason why relationships break down. And nobody wants to actually talk about the facts that contribute to the dysfunction. We want to talk about what we think is perfect and what we think supposed to be. And if that's the conversation that everybody want to have, it's just a conversation that I can't participate in, because everything I speak on is based in neurology, it's based in biology, is based in philosophy, is based in the historical structures and the changes of environment. If we can't have a conversation up here, I'm not interested in coming down here, because it don't matter how nobody feel. The evidence is right in front of your face. Everybody's sitting up here lying. People getting in relationships and are miserable. And there's a reason for that. But everybody wants to get up here in front like life just so peaches and cream when they know they've been through hell with these relationships. And there's a reason why. There's a reason why. And all I talk about is the reason. Just like I analyzed Simone Biles and her husband for the last 2 days and pulled out all of the dysfunction live on camera, right? What's going to happen with their relationships just by understanding the nature and the psychology of a man, and understanding why women believe what they believe, which is a massive or a mass brainwashing technique that has happened over the centuries. So I'm here to stimulate conversations and bring it higher. The moment you tell me how I feel, I ain't gonna even listen to you. You can feel how you want to feel. Let's talk about some real shit. Let's talk about some objective facts. Now, if you can't go deep like that, if you can't go there, just say that. But don't ask me about my personal life no more, because at the end of the day, this ain't about personal. It's about objectivity, because a lot of people experience the personal shit based on the structures, based on the human behavior of males and females. So it makes sense why people experience certain things, right? So ain't no need to ask me about what I personally experienced. Talk to me about the data, talk to me about the facts, dig into the science. If you can't do that, keep your feelings to yourself.
I agree with a couple of things that she said. One is people are miserable in relationships, and men don't need validation from women. Men get validation from God and Himself. So I agree with those two things. But I mean, this is a conversation, and typically when we have conversations, I always stay elevated. I'm not going to disrespect anyone or do anything else. I just know for a fact that you said men should bow down to women. And I wrote it down when you said it. I have notes. So I take notes. All I'm saying is that, the reason why I say that is because, again, you know, I just think, a man's purpose is to build. Like that's how I was raised, and that's how I feel that what men should be doing. I don't think it's chauvinistic to say that I'm supposed to protect my family and provide for my family if I have children. And I also don't think that I also believe that women should be able to rest. When I say rest, that means that, okay, this is the direction of my family right now. If something was to happen in this estate that I'm in right now, they're not going to come knocking on the door asking, okay, if a man is in here, They're going to ask, who is the leader of the who's responsible for this household? And they're going to hold me accountable for what goes on in here. So, you know, and I read on the responsibilities of men right here. Here's a book for all of you guys. Look, when you get a chance, As a Man Thinketh, you should read this book because it tells you, you know, what men are supposed to do. As a physically weak man cannot make himself strong, be careful and patient training, so the man of weak thoughts will be weak. So, and this was written in the 20s, and this is one of the world's best-selling books. But all I'm saying is that, you know, when we get away from again, I'm a direct reflection of being with a lady who never had a father. That's the mother of my kids. No example of what leadership looks like because the hierarchy of her family was her mother. And it was very hard for her to be able to trust that I was going to do what I'm supposed to do to raise our family. And it took almost, I'm talking from experience, you know, so, you know, this is not subjective, you know, and I challenge to show the data. I mean, if you have the data of your theory, put it in the chat because I like to read it because I've never heard anything like that, what you were saying. You know, a man can only rise, conquer, and achieve by lifting up his thoughts. I mean, he can only remain weak and abject and miserable by refusing to lift his thoughts to lead. So, you know, these are things that, you know, I feel that more men need to hear. I'm a direct reflection of how my father, I was out of control when I was with my mother. When my father came into place, he provided structure, leadership, direction for me, and how I'm supposed to reflect how I communicate as a man. I didn't learn that from my mother. Okay, I learned that from my father. So I think that, you know, examples come from other men. And the reason why I wasn't asking you that question to, you know, this is a conversation. I have no problem with providing personal information of how I was raised. I didn't ask that as an attack. I asked for understanding. The reason why I asked that is because, you know, I wanted to ask, okay, what example have you had of men and that loved, protected, and provided? I can't speak on anything I did not experience. Just like I inherit behavior from my mother. My mother was doing drugs. She was, you know, my sister was, you know, sexually assaulted. So I didn't trust women. That I inherited that behavior from seeing how my mom carried herself. Then when my father got married to a single mother, I saw my stepmother steal from my dad, even though he raised her son. So a lot of this stuff is inherited behavior. So I think it's innately in us to look at both sides and say, Anthony Glenn II, 45 years old from Atlanta, Georgia, I know beyond a reasonable doubt that I need a woman. I need a woman to procreate, which is essential. And I feel that women need men also if they want to bear children and they want to raise children. So that's the fundamental piece that I wanted to say. And then I won't continue to take off, but I believe we both need each other.
All right. Am I allowed to respond now?
Please jump in.
All right. So he starts this entire conversation, I, my, me, and continues to speak I, my, me, my situation, this, to continue to boost his ego, because men need to feel like they needed and valuable. So they always gonna big up themselves. So they'll shift the narrative to talk about I, my, me. They cannot have a conversation that don't center around that. Once you begin to talk about I, my, me, you become subjective. He say this ain't subjective. Absolutely it is. Subjective definition based on or influenced by personal feelings, tastes, or opinions. Okay. I, my, me, my life, my situation. I'm not talking about anecdotal information, and I'm not talking about personal feelings. So this is the second time we have started a conversation or talking to me about how you feel, which is irrelevant because I am speaking objectivity and I'm speaking about facts. So let me give you the definition of objective so we can stay on point. Okay. Of a person or their judgment not influenced by personal feelings or opinions in considering representing facts. Okay.
Where's your data? Are you going to do personal
All right.
attack or are you going to show the data?
Sir, I sit
Are you
up
going to
there
do
and let
personal
you,
attacks or are you
sir,
going to
I
show
know,
the data?
no, sir, I know I'm whooping your ego's ass right now, which is the reason why.
Where's the data?
Hold on. Which is the
Where's the data
reason
at?
why. Which is the reason why you're bucking up like that, okay? And you out here just pouncing and reacting to what I just said, okay?
All right.
Because I done asked you 2 times to not tell me about how you feel. So if you want the
Did you
data,
ask me any questions?
Sir, if you want the data, because I know it's fucking with you right now. Okay. So I'm gonna need you to calm down. So I'm gonna be quiet and I'm gonna give you an opportunity to calm down. Everybody bow your head. And let's pray for brother to control his ego and his emotions.
Okay,
Dear
thank
Lord.
you. So,
Dear Lord.
Again,
Oh, you can't
where's
do
your
it.
data at?
You can't do it, huh? You can't do it because I'm gonna put it on the screen. I just want you to be quiet for a second, okay? Because you can't not talk about personal feelings. All right. So now what I'm gonna put in your face is something that you probably ain't gonna want to hear. Okay. Let me see if I can share my screen. I don't think I can share my screen because
Yeah, you can share it.
let me see, present. Okay. All right.
Oh, Neil, you need a whooping.
Who?
Here, yeah, you can. Oh, Neil, crazy.
I'm laughing.
I'm trying to see
Oh,
facts.
first, next thing, but just because he brought up a book, right? Okay. So I'm gonna bring up a book too. We're gonna bring up Think and Grow Rich, right? And I'm gonna show you how much men need women, right? Y'all need women like you need air because women are a resource and women don't know no better. Women don't know no better, but I'm gonna pull up 2 things to show you how everybody jacked up in this. Okay. So one, y'all's mentality is that of a chimpanzee first and foremost. And I'm gonna prove that to you. Number 2, right? Because y'all think you superior to animals when you act just like one. Number 2, let me read from Napoleon Hill, Think and Grow Rich, where this book has been the staple for people who wanted to change their mindset, right? So this ain't no BS. But let me tell you what Napoleon Hill says about men, because this is a book written by men, about men, for men, right? So here's what it says about men and their success, as y'all like to take credit for every single thing on this planet, right? Let's see. Okay, just give me just a second.
Break it down for us. Break it down.
Yeah, I will. All right. I will.
If y'all enjoyed today's show, man, like the video, man. Like the video.
All right. So, fortunate indeed is the person who has discovered how to give sex emotion an outlet through some form of creative effort, which is of the feminine, right? The feminine is the dominant source, right? Where everything come from. The masculine ain't nothing but a workhorse and a slave for the feminine. So that everybody who is successful and the higher level thinking people understand this. Okay. So scientific research has disclosed these significant facts. Number 1, men of greatest achievement are men with highly developed sex natures who have learned the art of sex transmutation. Dudes that ain't screwing a lot, right? And who have practiced quote unquote semen retention, right? Where they're not driven by their lower nature, right? And they have tapped in to a creative or the feminine side, which takes a whole lot of effort. Number 2, the men who have accumulated great fortunes and achieved outstanding recognition in literature, art, industry, architecture, and the professions were motivated by the influence of a woman. So it goes in further in this book to let you know that the most wealthiest men attach themselves to women. to create any damn thing, right? As men like to try to take credit for everything that was built in this book, they let it be known that women were the foundation for anything to be created, okay? So when people are unread, right, and they speak from their feelings, it throws everything into delusion land, and we can't figure out an actual solution to anybody's problem. But let me show you how chimpanzees operate, because y'all operate just like that, right? Let's see.
Not the monkeys.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah,
Not the monkeys.
yeah. See, when people are unread, they become unconscious and they behave like animals, and they think they doing something great, right? But here it is, all right? So this is what this says about.
What's the title of that book? Okay.
This one is Bonobo, the Forgotten Ape, right? So it goes in to speak about human societies, right? How humans have created quote unquote nuclear families, where this ain't the norm in the wild, right? A nuclear family is male, female, and children. That's a nuclear family. Extended families, right, and communal families are mostly polygynous, okay? These are facts. Now, that hurt women because they want to own Peter Wacker. They want to fall in love with Peter Wacker, and that ain't the duty of the Peter Wacker, right? But anyway, so since we brought up books, I'm going to go ahead and bring up some books since you want to talk about the data, which we should, okay? Human society is characterized by a combination of 1, male bonding, 2, female bonding, and 3, nuclear families. We share the first feature with chimpanzees, the second with bonobos, and the third is specifically our own. It is no accident that people everywhere fall in love, are sexually jealous, no shame, seek privacy for sexual intercourse, look for father figures in addition to mother figures, which is not the natural thing, because now we're talking about seeking father figures. Where did that come from? The male's need to feel needed in society, which it continues to go on here. But I'm going to show you, right, how women and men are functioning like chimpanzees. So they look for father figures in addition to mother figures and value stable partnerships. Even Malinowski's hedonic savages most likely were not without these predispositions, which reflect our inclination to form exclusive households in which both males and females invest in their children. These reproductive units may be monogamous, but the culturally most widespread pattern for our species is polygyny, right? So the idea, number one, the idea of monogamy is a total fabrication, giving every man access to a woman, which is inevitably going to cause problems, right? Because every male is not fit to pass his genes along or to be with a woman. That so instantly when you do that, you make an error in society. So that is one male with several females, which is the standard, the natural standard. Nuclear family, which is male, female, and children, is unnatural, which is the reason why y'all asses are struggling with it. But you keep trying to push something that ain't working clearly. To do the same thing over and over again, expecting a different result, is the definition of insanity. Okay, so we have been adapted for millions of years to a social order revolving around these proverbial family structures, for which no parallel exists in the great apes. This special feature provided our hominid ancestors with an a foundation upon which to build cooperative societies to which both sexes contributed and which both could feel secure. The male does not feel secure in raw nature because nature is not kind to him. So they created these structures so that men could feel needed and valued, which screws up the entire world. You can see the world is totally dysfunctional. Moving on, it now says, only when males can determine with some certainty which young they have sired, do they have any reason to get involved in their care. Perhaps the nuclear family arose out of a male tendency to accompany females with whom they had mated as to repel infanticidal males. Such a simple security could have helped his companion locate fruit trees, capture prey, or transport juveniles. He himself might have benefited from her talent for precision tool use, right? Her talent of precision tool use and gathering nuts and berries. The female, in turn, may have begun prolonging her sexual receptivity as to keep her protector from abandoning her for every good-looking passerby. So the woman's desire or need to continue to stroke male egos, to make herself sexually available, it comes out of this primate thing that she needs him around to quote unquote protect her. But where does that come from? Men keep instilling this in you because they need access to your womb. They need access to control a woman, right? So women being sexually available is actually outside. It's actually outside of what they would normally do when they're not threatened by men. So the female, in turn, may have begun prolonging her sexual receptivity as to keep her protector from abandoning her for every good-looking passerby. The more both parties committed to this arrangement, the higher the stakes. It became increasingly important for the male that his mate's offspring were his and his only. From an evolutionary perspective, investment in someone else's progeny is a total waste of time and energy. Hence, males tighten control over their mate's reproduction in direct proportion to the assistance they gave her. In nature, nothing is free. If bonobo females paid for their successful arrangement with almost continuously swollen genitals, hominid females paid for theirs with the loss of reproductive freedom. So at the end of the day, all of this stuff that y'all sitting up here talking about in 2024, when we have moved through the Industrial Revolution and we are now in the age of technology, the fact of the matter is you carry a monkey primate mentality. And the shit is showing you in the world that it don't work. And so women keep cutting themselves down, right? To try to be available for men who cannot measure up and stand on their own. Because for them, it's all about sex, ego, and power, period. Sex, ego, and power. So if y'all got an issue with me talking, right? That's your problem, because I was invited on the show, right? I could still be asleep. If you don't want to hear what I got to say, right, then stay in your delusional world, because when I go to my show, I don't have this problem. I don't have this problem, right? Y'all want to stay in delusion land, continuing to promote stuff that don't work. And there is a fundamental reason why it don't work. And I keep talking to people who are in their feelings, who are unread. Men created what they created off the backs of women. Women don't know their value, and they steady trying to give their responsibility over to males who only give a fuck about sex, ego, and power, dominating you so that they can feel needed and wanted in society. Leading by ego is what is going to destroy relationships, the planet, and anything that comes in a person's path. You cannot lead with ego. Men are forever trapped in ego. It ain't their job to lead. That's the job of the feminine. But since people don't understand masculine and feminine energies or masculine feminine principles, they are failing at actually becoming whole versions of themselves, right? People think that the lack of masculine energy means that you and your feminine. Wrong. The lack of masculine energy is the lack of willpower. It's the lack of work ethic. It's the lack of drive, lack of determination. Masculine energy is about doing and moving. Women think that doing something means that they think that resting means being feminine. Wrong. Feminine energy is actually the most work that is being done, because it's the work of the mind. It's the work of the creative imagination. The masculine part of a person is actually physically doing something. So men wanting to feel valuable is telling women to cut themselves down and shut off their masculine self, because everybody has masculine and feminine energy within them. No life can exist without it. So within everybody, there is a degree of masculine and feminine energy within oneself. The male's access to feminine energy is low. It is very low. He functions totally on uncontrolled physical masculine movement. He has low levels of mental masculine energy. Women actually have a balance of both. And men are telling women to cut half of themselves down so that they can feel needed, and this shit ain't working, right? People need higher education. The lack of knowledge is what causes the destruction in the world. My people suffer from a lack of knowledge. Y'all lack education.
Ooh.
You reading the wrong stuff. You're thinking about the wrong thing. You need to get in the books and stop listening to BS.
Ooh.
Hey, let me say this real quick. Napoleon Hill was written in
Hold on.
1932.
Hold it out real quick. I gotta say this. And shout out to Delia for joining the conversation as well. Oh my God. I gotta say this. This is where I do agree with Princella. Number one, I do feel like there is a degree of where women are, to a certain degree, having to diminish themselves in order to appease a male's ego to create relationship in 2024. I do believe that this is happening. And I think men not acknowledging this in 2024 works to their own detriment. And I speak to that because I live this in principle and in practice. My wife, financially, she does very well. She's very financially successful. She's smart. If she wanted to be independent, she could 100% be independent. Right. And I am not here to diminish that in order for us to be able to do relationship. Again, I understand that she don't need me. She has to want me. So our relationship is built on friendship, built on building off of our compatibilities, our strengths and our weaknesses. That is how we function and build in our relationship. This is what I'm saying. This is why this is critically important. I think men wanting women to bow down or diminish themselves to do relationships in 2024, I think you're operating off a flawed logic system that is outdated. It's old technology. Just my thoughts. But I want to hear what Tony has to say about this. And then I want to also open up the floor. We got Delia the cat. I want to, we got Otavine, we got Lady B. Shout out Lady B and Princella in the building. But Tony, what's your thoughts on this? On what
join this conversation, man. Make sure y'all like the video, man. We need to get to 100 likes. Go ahead, Tony.
I completely agree with her narrative in regard to and what you just said. I'm agreeing with her actually with some of the stuff, but some of the things here. Look, Napoleon Hill, Chapter 2. This book was written. This is a bad example of what she's talking about, because this book was written in 1937. Okay. And in chapter 2, let me read it to you guys. Okay. Because he doesn't say anything about what she's talking about. Okay. It says specific reference to a supportive partner can be found in chapter 2. It emphasizes on the traditional desires and emotions, and maintaining a positive supportive role for the spouse can contribute to anyone's overall success. So it does not make sense what she's saying, because this book is basically saying the domestic partner for the woman in a relationship is a supportive nature. Okay. In this section, the book particularly talks about discussing the importance of a harmonious relationship in the supportive context and traditional domestic roles for the woman can directly contribute to individuals' pursuit of success. So what version of that says that the woman, this again, 1937, Napoleon Hill, Think and Grow Rich. The book is right here, and I have it highlighted, chapter 2.
Sir,
That's all
okay,
I want to say. So no, wait. So I think this is a bad example, because again, I'm not saying that again, let me be clear. Women need men and men need women. I believe that men do not need to be, and I keep mine short. I'm not going to go on a whole rant. I do not believe that a man should be validated by a woman and vice versa. I believe that women are just as equally important in the workforce today than men are. Okay. And I believe that also, I also believe that men need to be in the example. And I think that right now, I mean, it's happening. And I think that there's a draw away from the traditional roles of a man. And I also believe that more men need to step up. So I understand why people are complaining, because men are not setting the example. It's true. I can't deny that. But there are men out here leading, protecting, providing, and building empires for their family.
Princella, before you respond, let us hear it from the other three real quick. Dr. O, what you got?
Mine was short, so.
Before you respond, Princella, let's hear from them real quick. Dr. O, what's your thoughts?
First of all, since bringing out books like that, that's where women, she did a lot of things here. She did a lot of things for a lot of people. But thank you for your information. Thank you for not using Google. Thank you for going to the books. Thank you for showing us your intellect. I think a lot of women are missing some of that opportunity. I think a lot of women are very intellectual, but that she's displaying intellect like here publicly for all of us. So that's powerful. Anyway, to the point, I don't think Anthony is the brother that we be this hard on, though. This is me personally, by the way, and this is my emotion. This is my feeling. This is my thought. He's not the brother that we be hard on. But as far as what she spoke about men in general in society, 100%. She didn't say anything from feeling or emotion. She didn't say anything from her perspective, even though it may feel that way to some people. She's speaking from an intellect that not only does she agree with, it is obvious. So that's what Byron was talking about. Where's the data? Where's the number? So instead of her pulling out links, she pulled out a book and read, which is where a lot of people get their data from. Scientists study human beings. They put the information in a book, and in the book, that's where the data is. So she spoke from data. She spoke from science. She spoke from mathematics, and that is amazing. So kudos to you, sis. As far as, I don't think Anthony is a brother that we do that to, but I do believe that we need to hear this. Please stop, drop, go like the video so more people can see it. Share it with other people, because this is the type of content information that we do need out here. She spoke a point. In 2024, this should not even be on the table to discuss. The fact that we have to discuss it in 2024 lets us see how far we are from the truth. But from the book perspective, not the sister, because a lot of people are mad at her. But think about what the books are saying. Go read it for yourself. If you don't like her reading it, then you go read it yourself. I think she made a great point. But I absolutely love this particular topic, the show, the level of intelligence that everybody's displaying here. The support of the sisters, or queens rather, excuse me, in the comments is beautiful. I love it. I'm like, now I feel like O'Neal. I want to ask some questions, make some stuff pop. But I think that it's great. And I really appreciate her for showing no emotion through objectivity and critical thought.
I think we got Delia, Lady B.
Yeah, we got Delia and Lady B.
Hello.
What's your thoughts on this?
Oh,
What's going on?
I have a lot to say. I don't even know where to start, but
give us the summary, the quick summary.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. So I'll go. And what I wanted to contribute, because I hear so much sorry.
No, you're good. Go ahead.
Yeah, just cut each other off.
Yeah.
Oh,
Just somebody jump in. That's all. We just want somebody to jump
Yeah,
in.
go ahead, the cat. Go ahead, the cat. Yeah, you go ahead,
all
and then
right.
we'll go back to Liddy.
Well, so what I wanted to talk about, because I hear so much being said about people who are brought up without a father present or like a male role model in the home. I come from a background and a culture and a community where men were present. You know, I'm from a two family household in my family, in my community. And even with that, a lot of the observations and a lot of my views are very much in alignment with what Prince Shala is saying, you know. So I just wanted to stress on that point that it's not a matter of, oh, because, you know, having a father in the home or not having one, you know. In my opinion, actually having those males very present in the home actually, you know, is bringing me to the same conclusion.
What you think about that, Lady B?
What I will say is going back to the books. You mentioned something the other day, Byron, about power, the book of 48 Laws of Power.
Mm-hmm.
Most of these books, you know, depending on what type of mindset you have to be very mindful of how you receive this information, right? And you like to go off of data, that's fine. I hear people reading out of the books. For me, I'm someone who likes to understand what is going on with the people who is in control, right? And with that being said, literally you have the power, we have the power, just like they have the power, and they use it all the way to their benefit to create whatever reality they want, right? So we can sit here and read all this data and say, oh, this is what it is because this is what this says. But for me, I grew up in an environment around men, right? I left my mom's house when I was very young. I got a personal place in my heart for men because I understand what the system has done to break them down. And they are leaders. I've had men in my life, homeboys, dudes who I've dated that have done the unthinkable for me, right? So men do know how to love. What I would say is men have a problem of being faithful, but men are loyal. I grew up around men like this. I've dealt in business with men like this. So I'm not speaking for all men because that's just how life is set up. But that's what I wanted to say. I had a lot to say, but I'll just stop there. Just be mindful as we take this information in. Priscilla, I met you when we were in Miami. And you know, I take a lot of what you say. I agree with a lot with what you have to say, and I disagree with some of what you have to say. And that's why I'll leave it.
Priscilla, what's your thoughts on that?
What's your thoughts?
Okay, so I don't get caught up in what people agree with and disagree with. I'm gonna tell you why. Because people don't agree with other people's perspectives. They don't agree because what people are looking for is they're looking for their own feelings coming out of somebody else's mouth. So it's a subjective thing. They're looking to resonate with what you're saying that validates what they feel. So I don't care what people agree with, because guess what? When people's minds change, what they feel also changes. So everything that she spoke about is subjective, right? Not understanding how information is digested. And so because of her emotional attachment to males, she's not going to see the world, right? She's not going to see the facts. So we're just going to look at the world going up in flames, and we're going to act like we don't see it because my little hole is not on fire, right? So I don't get caught up in that. Okay. I stick to the facts and what people don't understand about the 48 laws of power, right? English is just not people strong. It's not people's strong suit, even though they speak this language. The 48 Laws of Power is not a manufactured book. You have law that is defined as, let me pull it up. Let me tell you what the definition of law is so you can understand. Right. Okay. All right. A statement of fact. Off the rip. Law is a statement of fact deduced from observation to the effect that a particular natural or scientific phenomenon always occurs if certain conditions are present. The 48 laws of power are 48 statements of fact deduced from observation of people in power. Off the rip, it ain't opinion based. So because this book is written by a man who observed other men in power, this is the consistent behavior that they have observed with people in power. Okay. So how you feel about the 48 laws of power and whether you think it applies in your life is irrelevant. These are facts deduced from observation of human behavior. Number two, old boy who was up here before. Okay. Y'all started talking. He skates by a lot of stuff, starts fast talking. Once a person starts fast talking, that's when you know they on BS note. I brought up Think and Grow Rich. This is a book that I have dissected from beginning to end. I actually have a book club, and we've been reading this book since February. He has the book and ain't read it because he had to go online and try to find somebody else's opinion about the book because he ain't read the book himself.
The book is highlighted, dear.
You just highlighted it when you was looking, sir.
The book is highlighted.
I don't need you to defend.
But see, you're going off of your opinion. You're doing the exact same thing.
Whoa. Hey, hold on. I didn't stop none of y'all. So just hold your horses, buddy, because you was literally looking on the computer, okay? You literally pulled it up on the computer. So stop, right? Number one, the book was published in 1937. You pulled up a book before I pulled up that one. I think that was written in 1920. Let me tell you what happened between 1920 and 1937, sir. The divorce rate was 1% during that time. Oh, you didn't even know. Y'all don't even know the divorce rates, right? Because you're not reading shit, right? Y'all just going off your feelings. In 1920, between 1920 and 1937, the divorce rate was 1%. At that time, women couldn't do shit without a man because the system set it up that way, where she was forced to depend on men. She could not go to an Ivy League school. She could not get a bank account. She could not get loans in her own name. She had to do everything through a man. The book was written and published in 1937, which means that it wasn't written for women. It was written by men, about men, for men. Napoleon Hill studied wealthy men for 25 years. And the consistent thing that he has seen is that men have usurped the power of a woman by forcing them to be in the house with men. In 1960, women still couldn't have their own shit. It wasn't until 1974 with the Credit Act that gave women the ability to provide for themselves. In 1980, the early 1980s, the divorce rate skyrocketed. The divorce rate skyrocketed, being the highest of all time, doubling since that of 1960. Now, these are facts. Your feelings are irrelevant. I don't care about them. If this shit was so natural, why the fuck did they have to force women to be with them? And why did the divorce rate skyrocket after women got the ability to take care of themselves? Answer me that. Fuck your feelings. I'm tired of talking about dumb shit. Hit me with some scholarly shit. Tell me why, if it was so peaches and cream and if it was so natural, why you needed to strip women of their damn autonomy so you could feel needed, and now you losing your mind because women got too much damn power that you don't want them to have. Miss me with all that other stuff.
Ooh,
That was a little spicy.
that was spicy. Yeah, I'm not gonna lie, Byron. I love the spice, man.
Yeah,
I ain't gonna
me
lie to
too.
you.
I like the spice. What's your thoughts on that though? I want to hear Tony come in.
Tony back. Tony
I
back.
know Los and his wife, you know, have been in the comments. I would love to hear their take on this, you know, because they have some alternative views on this as well. I would love to hear. But Tony, what's your
Najee
thoughts
as
about
well.
this? She said some facts. I don't know if you were able to hear those facts that she kind of laid out. She said that during the time when you know, Napoleon Hill was writing these books, she said the divorce rate was somewhere around 1%. Do you think that any of that, you know, has something to do with what we're seeing today based on those books that you've read? Or what's your take on it?
Can y'all hear me?
We can hear you.
Yes, sir.
Okay. I'm not going to debate with someone who is going to attack. Okay. Those people I teach. What I do know is all I want to ask is that, you know, what are you creating for women? What are you doing for women? Instead, because see, to me, what it sounds like is bashing men. Not once did I bash any women. Napoleon Hill was written in 1937, this book. Okay. And I showed you the chapter where it says that the harmonious relationship is about growing as a nuclear family and the woman's contribution as a domestic partner. It has nothing, it didn't say anything about the woman being more powerful or more. And one thing that I have said the entire time that I've stood fast on this, you said, well, you're not read up and you don't read or you don't understand English. Not once did I attack you that way. Okay, all I was saying is debating on what Think and Grow Rich is about. And then you said that I Googled the book. I have the book right here and it's highlighted, right? I read through the book as well. Just because you read the book doesn't necessarily mean that that's could be factual. Now, some of the things that I do agree with were what you said. You know, a lot of the things that I agree with. Again, I don't think that men should be validated by a woman. God validates man, and then a man validates himself. So I'm in alignment with that. Okay. The second thing that you said is that, you know, there are some weak men that are out there, and I completely agree with you on that as well. However, it goes back to the fundamental fact, okay, from the what is the most powerful book on the planet? The Bible. Okay. Now, you might not subscribe to the Bible, but I think a person's responsibility is to procreate and to build. Okay. You cannot procreate without a man. Okay. And men build. Majority of the things that you see today that people are taking advantage of, that our American system runs on, is the building and the creating of and procreating of ideas of men. Okay. Now, you can argue that all day long. You can say that, yes, women created things, and I completely agree with that. But at the same time, the phone that you're on right now was created by man. The books that you read, Napoleon Hill and all of this other stuff, were written by men. Okay. So, you know, I can go back and forth, man, but I'm not going to do that. And I'm not going to be disrespectful or do anything like that. But what I do know, and I stand fast on, is that women need men and men need women, period. And again, I'll ask the question, what are you creating, and what atmosphere are you creating, and what contribution are you creating for the women that you're speaking of and the men that you're speaking of? Are you doing anything for women or men that help them advance? Is this just a male bashing session where men are monkeys? That's what I want to ask, because I can answer that question. I create opportunity for women. I've created an opportunity. We've created an opportunity for women. Women are in leadership positions and co-owners within our organizations. And then I believe that they're equally important. But when I get in conversations about, men are not needed and when men are less than, I don't see any scientific fact anywhere that states that. I'm looking, help me, because I need to figure out where it says that at. And men are from monkeys and all that other stuff. I don't know where that comes from, but I'll yield my mic. I just don't understand where all of this energy is coming from to where men don't where women do not need men, or men are lesser than. And I'm gonna stand on that. I have a son and a daughter that sleep right now, and that's the greatest creation that I've ever done. Okay, and I needed a woman to do it. And I believe beyond a reasonable doubt that my daughter and my son need me as an example of how they're supposed to be raised. Okay, and I provide and protect and lead them as their father. That's why I feel that men are needed by women.
So Tony, you on 100% that women need men?
110%, yes. And I'm 100% saying that men need women as well. It's equal. I'm not saying that we're not. I'm saying that we need each other. That's my narrative. But I also believe, again, leading, protecting, and providing is not a bad thing. I don't understand where the pushback is at.
Okay, can I say something now?
Priscilla, what's your thoughts about that? We need each other. What you think? You think we need each other?
The male gonna keep saying that. The male gonna keep saying that, right? And so he keeps saying, I feel. What did I tell y'all about feel? I don't care, right? So you have an issue with me saying that y'all act like chimpanzees, okay? Male chimpanzees, on the other hand, hunt together, engage in warfare over territory, and enjoy a half amicable, half competitive camaraderie. Their cooperative, action-packed existence resembles that of the human males who in modern society team up with other males in corporations within which they compete while collectively fighting other corporations. That the same delicate balance between internal strife and unity towards the outside is found in chimpanzee males gives them the most human-like social system of all apes. I'm sorry that y'all's behavior resembles that of a chimpanzee, and you don't know that, because you know what? You operating on autopilot and y'all don't read nothing. You don't have no knowledge on anthropology, right? You don't have no scientific knowledge. You don't have knowledge rooted in physics. None of this stuff. This ain't y'all conversation. Y'all conversation is dick and pussy and who gon' be the head of the household, who gonna get the biggest piece of the chicken. That's y'all conversation, right? And y'all can't go beyond that, right? Because the science would torpedo everything y'all talking about, okay? It just will. So he keeps saying, I feel, which I don't care, because the male's whole biological purpose is to try to pass his genes along. And what he say his greatest creation was? Something that he had sex with to reproduce. Anytime the male talks about how much women need them, they always go back to sex. They always go, well, you can't have a baby without a man. Well, guess what? A lot of these women do not want to have children, okay? They don't want to have children. And guess what y'all reckless sex has created? Your reckless sexual reproductive behavior has created a bunch of children in foster care, a bunch of kids being vulnerable to being pimped out on the streets, sex trafficking. Come on, stop being delusional. Stop basing your existence on sex, which the male can't seem to elevate beyond that, right? Ain't nobody, I don't care about you having no kids. I don't, right? And your greatest creation being what you reproduce, that don't tell me nothing about your mind. That tell me everything about your Peter Whacker, right? Can we move beyond, I need to be needed, to produce with you. Sir, I don't want your kids. And it's not natural for a woman to lay on her back and be sexually receptive her entire life to boost your ego and to extend your line.
Priscilla,
Give me something more intelligent.
I have a question for you, right?
Yes, who's speaking?
This is Lady B. Because I hear
Lady
what
B.
you're saying. I hear what you're saying. And I know you're very aware of what's going on in society, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it sounds like how you come off, it's like you helping promote that instead
promote
of
what?
like the foolery.
What foolery? Be specific with me.
Your movement, like, you know,
be specific with
fuck, like forget a man, get you a woman,
no
X the man out.
See, basing your stuff off of feelings is gonna skew your perception. Okay. The fact of the matter is, having sex produces children. The risk of producing unwanted children is high, right? And women leave themselves vulnerable. Men are sitting up here telling you, choose better. Choose better. And y'all as women, you're so conditioned to worship men that you really think choosing better is to jump from man to man. You got multiple baby daddies out here. Why is that? There is a reason for all this stuff. So women actually thinking better and understanding life makes them choose better. Have the appropriate selective mechanism, not keeping their legs open, chasing every Tom, Dick, and Harry so that they can feel worthy, right? Because they think their value is in having a man. I don't do that. I don't teach women that.
All right. And I agree with you, right? What I'll say to that is you have weak men and women out here, right? And this is what you were speaking about earlier in my feelings. I'm speaking from experience. I'm not your average chick, right? Like where I come from, how I was raised, I wouldn't be who I would be able to be independent or move how I move. I really move like a nigga. And I do not like females, okay? And I wouldn't be able to be that person if it wasn't how I grew up, the men that I grew up around, the influence that I had, and just being able to see what is real and what is not in a man, right? I will not take that away from a man because I know what a real man is. I know what that looked like. And you can say whatever you want. You're free to feel how you want. I'm telling you from my personal experience. You say you grew up around dudes who wasn't shit. I'm telling you, I grew up around dudes that I seen that I know would kill for me, that done saved my life, that done got on the stand for me, like that done did shit that I don't know too many chicks. I can't even call a chick out that I know that was step like that. So, like, I'm gonna go back to what I said earlier, and I'm not in my feelings. I don't want to come across like, hey, do you? But I feel as a Black community, we have been through enough already. All of this here it's just tearing us down even more. I really wish Los could jump on here because I know how I would really like to come across might sound offensive, and I'm just really coming from a place of love for us to like really be lifted as a people. And I just don't
Lady
really.
B, I got a question for you.
Go ahead.
Thank you, sister.
What value does a man bring to you? Or what value did the men bring to you?
So every guy I've ever dated, right, has helped me elevate. I was in the streets. I was like dealing.
In what type of ways?
Well, let's just say like, you know, not to say that it was in the best environment, but at the end of the day, like I'm a hustler, right? So that came from me learning that from a man. The way my hustling capabilities are, it came from me being around hardcore hustlers. So just knowing each level was taking me to where I'm now like not in the streets anymore, right? I'm like a real businesswoman now, right? And like I said, I agree to a lot of what she said because you do have men who cannot handle that, right? My first business, the dude who I was dating with at the time, He's the one who introduced me. I told y'all the other day I used to be a dope girl. He the one who introduced me to the dope game. And what happened was, in the dope game, he was the face. He had control over everything. So he was the man. Even me, for me to move around, I had to go to him. But when we decided to, like, okay, I wanted to get out of that game. I wanted to get legit. So we seen this business was like a popping business in our area. And so we opened up the first group home. Now what happened was, being that, you know, I do have like workforce experience. I have worked in environments where I've been able to know how to like work in corporate as well. So when we decided to do that, I became the face, and he could not handle that, right? He could not handle that, and he left me hanging thinking the business was going to flop. I actually grew the business like on a 10x level. And just to show you how like dudes can get in their ways, as to like, I can understand where she's coming from in some aspects, is even when I did level up in the business, I went and grabbed Buddy back for him to just show face and get a check. This nigga was so in his feelings that he didn't care about the check. He would rather sabotage what I had done built. So point being, like, when you say what value do a guy bring, it's through the trials that I went through. It's through the what they instilled in me, right? So this dude's mentality was like, you know, even though I'm a whole ass nigga, if a nigga can't do better for you than I can, he ain't got no business in your face. To an extent, I was like, oh yeah, that's true. But then that also showed me like, oh damn, nigga, you think you really got control over me? So that showed me that really traumatized me to not want to rely on a man, not in a way of to be financially stable. I'd rather find a man that's gonna like want to build something together where we both add value to that. So I hope that answers your question.
Can I say something real quick?
Nice. Who's that? Is that OT?
OT, yeah. So
yeah, go ahead.
I'm not 100% sure how, for me, that example based on the title didn't necessarily, I don't know if it hit the way it was supposed to. Like, I get some of what you were saying, because, you know, I've had my experience in the streets as well, but I don't necessarily think that I don't know, I guess relevant is the only word I can come up with. But after listening to the conversation from everybody's perspective and Princella, I think I really just have a question overall. I don't even know if I have like a perspective to give, because I feel like this whole shit is perspective, right? And I have read As a Man Thinketh. I've read Think and Grow Rich. I've read them both several times. So the only thing that I could take out of what she just said that was relevant to me was, as Black people, as family, we've been through enough, right? And so my question to Princella and to the room or whomever, in like the title of this, you know, the room, which seems to be like a trending topic all over social media, with like, what is the purpose? Like, what exactly are you promoting? And if I'm being like specific, you know, as far as Princella, I heard a lot of like, you know, preventing the world from hellfire, and like, you know, this becoming whole versions of ourselves. I tried to take some notes, but it was just a lot of shit going on. But is it to like build families? Is it to empower women? I just don't understand the purpose of these types of conversations, considering as Black people, we've been through enough. What the fuck is the point? Like, what are we getting at? Like, what, you know, that's, I'm just lost in that.
That was a question for me, right?
Yeah.
Okay. I think it wasn't just for you specifically, but it was for you and as well as anybody else in the room.
Okay. All right. So first and foremost, everything is about root cause analysis, right? I'm not here to promote things that don't work. I'm here to fix society and how it functions by giving people the truth so that they can correct their behavior. First and foremost, centering a world around men is an error, right? The nature of men and women are polar opposites. They are conflicting. Males and females biologically are incompatible. Yeah, you screw and produce a baby. You really think that makes you compatible? No, it does not. Males function totally different. Their brains are wired differently. And in order to quote unquote create a relationship between men and women, women have to severely be cut down to force that to sustain itself. To do the same thing over and over again, expecting a different result, is the definition of insanity. Y'all can't see that the world is getting worse and worse and worse. And y'all think that the solution is to do the same thing over and over again. You think that's going to fix it? Let me give you the definition of hold on. Because here's the thing. The women that follow me, they know the answer to that. They know the answer to that. The people who listen to me, they know the answer to that. Okay. And people who live in a land of delusion and trying to make fairy tales come true, they can't hear me. They can't hear me because they don't want to hear the truth about how the world actually is. Women want to believe that men are leaders. Women want to be lazy most of the time. They don't want to take their life into their own hands. So they're going to believe something that is counterintuitive or counterproductive in nature, that don't go in line with nature. So the key is to fix women's mentality. You can't fix men. Men's behavior is not going to change. They're going to keep doing what they've been doing. And it's up to the woman to make changes in her thought process and her mentality, right? To get men to change, because males function off of consequence and reward. Let me tell you something. Family, sex, food, all that's a reward to men. Everything. So women being ignorant about male nature and male psychology is part of the reason why we keep perpetuating dysfunction. Because the woman don't know any better. She's unlearned. She's uneducated, moving off of responding to stimuli unconsciously. My job is to get women to become conscious of their behavioral patterns and their thought process. And unfortunately, that does not mean continue to believe about men the way that people believe about men, because what you believe about men is a lie. And women centering their lives around men is a part of the destruction of the entire planet. Right? So let me give you the definition of delusion. So not only is doing the same thing over and over again, expecting a different result, is the definition of the insanity. Delusion is a false belief or judgment about external reality held despite incontrovertible evidence to the contrary, occurring especially in mental conditions. So the average person is delusional, which they actually have a mental condition and don't realize it, because to hold beliefs about external reality that goes against the facts, to maintain that position, that is insanity. That is a mental condition, right? So I'm trying to get women out of this mental messed up fuckery that they got going on. And I'm pulling women into science fields. I'm pulling them into STEM. Okay, I'm pulling them into the facts of life and pulling them out of la la land, right? So that they can function better, right? And unfortunately, men cannot exist in the face of truth. Truth and reality does not support male existence. This is the reason why they had a concerted effort to keep people delusional and away from science and away from philosophy, away from these things that they have controlled, right? The collective unconsciousness is the one creating all of the dysfunction, because it's your belief systems. It's your core belief systems where the people at the top stand on reality. And so males, especially Black males in the community, the reason that they're failing is because the elites stand on fact and they know male nature. They know male neurology. So they put them in environments where they know that they will not have any self-control. And what they do, they know how the male is going to behave. So what they do, they create prisons. They create prison, they create school to prison pipeline because they know that where you're going. They know that you don't have no ability to self-govern, right? They didn't make you do nothing. They just put the traps in the line in the line or the path that they know that you're going to walk. They know you going that way. They know that the male don't have no sexual discipline. So give him access to an abundance of sex, and guess what? He's going to reproduce. Just like the rats did in Universe 25. They know that's what's going to happen. So now, do we continue to live in ignorance and fairy tale island, or do we stand on business and stand on facts and start changing our behavior? For a woman to change her behavior, that means less access to sex, family, and all of that for males. It is what it is. You cannot create a quote unquote balanced world where men exist at the same level as women. Nature ain't built it like that. For every 5 women, it should be about 1 or 2 males. The majority of males ain't supposed to make it, but y'all think they are. Meanwhile, y'all cheating with each other, right? Lying, functioning, realize the delusion, right? Why we gonna keep lying? Why we gonna keep lying knowing how this stuff work? The male ain't gonna be monogamous. But women want to believe this like you can trap them. That ain't happening. It ain't happening. And if you find one that is, let me tell you something, that male is going to be highly exceptional. But you hate other women like old girl said, I'm like a nigga. I don't even like women. Well, what we talking to you for? And then you say, oh, love. We're going to promote love. How you going to promote love amongst people that you don't even like when it's women, when it's the feminine that's the nurturer and sustainer of life? How you dislike the nurturer and sustainer of life?
I got love for women too.
No, you just, how you going to love what you don't even like?
Honestly, I got love for everybody. I'm not into a race thing. I'm not into a gender thing. I got love for everybody. What I said was,
I don't even like women. That's what you said.
Place. I just use that as an example because I know you come from a place where you like women and you don't too much care for men, and you move like a nigga, and I'm telling you, I move like a nigga and I don't like women. So you know what I'm saying? We can have those two things. We can have that in common and don't see that eye to eye all the way. That's all.
Okay. All right.
But,
so let me say again. Okay. You can't love what you don't even like. Okay. So your perception of me ain't my perception of me. You telling me I move like a nigga. First and foremost, I've been around men my entire life, right? It is just within the past 2 years that I began to have female friends. So this idea that I don't even like men, that's a total fabrication. When you know better, you do better, right? So you moving off of emotion and you're perceiving me like I move like a nigga. I ain't never said I'm like no nigga. You said that you like a nigga and you perceive me as being like a nigga. And your first thing, hold on, because I didn't, first of all, you interrupted me, right? And so now I'm responding. Okay. All right. You can't love what you don't even like. You got a special place in your heart for males. Then your story totally spoke about some bullshit dealing with males, right? But that's neither here nor there. You cannot love what you don't like. So you saying that it's counterintuitive, right? Counterproductive of promoting quote unquote love amongst everybody when you let it be known that you don't even like women. You can't not like the nurturer and sustainer of life. To move with that energy for the feminine counterpart is to promote death and destruction. And by you being in the streets and coming from that wicked, hardcore, concrete jungle, only confirms exactly what I say, that humans are unconscious and they're behaving like animals. Because that's what they call the streets, the concrete jungle, right? The concrete jungle with a bunch of wild animals centering your life around death and destruction. and verbally saying, I don't even like women. We don't even have nothing to talk about. We don't.
Real quick. I want to pivot. So Anthony,
Hold on, give me 1 second. I'm not to cut you off because she putting words in my mouth, and I want to clear that up real quick, please. I never said I didn't like women. I said I do not find women attractive. I don't do women. Meaning
That ain't what you said.
I'm not sexually attractive to women. So I just want to clarify that, and whatever else you want to think, you're more than welcome to.
Real quick, I'm sorry, Byron, before you go ahead, Lady B, if that's what you meant to say, that's not actually what you said, just to clarify. But I hear you.
Yeah, you say you don't like women.
Yeah,
everybody what direction you want to go? I want to hear from DQ in this situation, man. Cause
we got DQ in the building.
I want to hear what DQ got to say about this.
I had to scroll down. All right, DQ, what's your thoughts?
Yeah, I'ma just
talk to us,
you know,
DQ.
and y'all know I'm just here to report the news. I don't want no smoke with nobody. Let me just say that first, okay? But what I will say is what's delusional for me is for women who have issues with real dicks but shove they women with plastic ones. That's delusional. But we not go. That's not why we're here, and I'm not gonna harp on that.
That's what you. Well, I want to say this. Your assumption.
No. Here we go. Wait. See. There we go.
Yeah.
You just
can't interrupt her.
Wait.
All right. Go ahead.
Let her get it out real quick, Priscilla. Let her get it out. Then you can respond. Let her get it out.
Don't hold your mule. I just said that's what I felt. You just gave the definition of delusional. So I'm just saying that's what's delusional to me, right? But whatever. Okay, because that's neither here or there. But this is what my question is, right? With this movement and with the understanding that you have now obtained and the understanding and the knowledge and the information, the wisdom and everything that you're giving your community, I have to come back off of what my sister Ultra Being asked. What is the ultimate goal? Is it just to bring us into the knowledge of these things? Like, because the reason why I'm asking that is because the truth, and this is my opinion. It sounds as if, right, women are supposed to provide for women, protect women, do for women, lead women. So my question is, where is the man's role?
I'm allowed to talk now.
Jump in.
Yeah, let's do it.
Okay.
What's the man's role?
So before I answer that, let me address what she thought she was harping on with delusion. First and foremost, your assumption is that lesbians always use motherfucking shit to shove up themselves. That's your assumption. Let me tell you something. Lesbians lick on each other, right? And they fucking scissor and grind on each other.
Oh, not scissor.
Yeah. Let's keep it a book, right? So the idea that that's what women are doing, yeah, you kind of off on that. Secondly,
but that is one of the things they do.
Whoa, stop. Let me finish.
Right? Whoa, DQ. Let her get it out. Let her get it out.
Yeah. Next, right? If you know anything about me, I tell women, if you gonna get with a dude, get with a chick that look like a dude, think like a dude, behave like a dude, act like a dude, and then you using dildos, something wrong with you. See, if you knew what I talked about, you would know that's what I teach, right? So I don't know what was the purpose of saying that, because I tell them they delusional too. Unless you think that was a slick cap at me, that I'm using dildos, because I don't even use them on myself. Never have, right? So I'm just keeping it a book with you. Okay.
Okay. Now, Priscilla, can I say one thing, right? With just what you said, and I won't say nothing else. I just want to comment on.
Go ahead.
I just wanted to comment off that one point. You are absolutely correct, which is why I didn't say you or lesbians. I said that's something that lesbians do, which is what you just stated is the truth. So it sounds like we are in agreement on that. But go ahead.
Yeah. Okay. I just want to let it be known, because the whole narrative is that I'm turning everybody into lesbians, which is what old girl Lady B was talking about. So the whole point, we just got to keep it a buck and stand on business and stand on facts, because it's so many different creative ways that a person can get down sexually, because guess what? Sexual energy, when you do it right, it's about creativity, right? As opposed to just fucking, right? And reproducing, because that's what sex between men and women are, is fucking to reproduce, right? But that's neither here nor there. Next, okay. Since males are here, right? First and foremost, we have to understand that the entire world is out of alignment. Everything is messed up because there is a forced congregation or a forced relationship between males and females. Okay, that's forced. There's supposed to be a healthy separation between males and females. The most successful relationships is when people don't even live together. All of these old axioms that have stood the test of time, they there for a reason. Seldom visit makes a longer friendship. Relationships are for broken people who need other people to fill voids. That is not the way humans were developed. Humans were here to become whole versions of themselves. So to not become a whole version of yourself is to actually become an incomplete human being. Who is the incomplete human being? The male. The male needs God, the Father, Son, and the Holy Ghost. You need a God-fearing man. Why the hell do you need a God-fearing man? Because males operate on fear and self-interest because of their biological nature. So a woman can't raise no man because a woman cannot put the fear in a man that another man can put in him. This is the reason why women can't raise men, boys to be men. They don't understand why they can't, or because men need to have fear in their heart. So it's men who actually need other men. It's males who need other men. It's not the woman who needs him. He the one who need to take counsel from her. He the one who has to tap into her creativity. But before he should be around any woman, he needs to have an extreme amount of self-discipline, which can only be given to him by another male based on fear being put into his heart, right? So since the male operates on fear and self-interest, not love and morality, right? Because the male don't have an internal moral compass. You can't argue with me on that, because now you would have to explain age of consent laws and why, as long as they keep moving down, the male keeps moving down with it. Okay? Because he ain't got no damn internal moral compass, right? So you're trying to build with somebody who don't even have the power and ability to self-govern and know right and wrong. So that's the reason why you need law and law enforcement, so that men can govern and control each other. What's your role in it? Unless you want to be treated like a man, like y'all are, and being used and abused, having your energy sucked dry in a male-dominated system, then it would behoove you to change your thought process about how this works, because it's males who need other males. You need education. You need cooperative functioning and collaboration between other women. But this is above y'all's comprehension, because y'all want to continue to exist in a dysfunctional society and continuing to think that the conversations y'all have is the solution to the problem, right? Because a lot of women are addicted to penis juice. They're addicted to penis juice, right? And so you can't imagine a life without dick running in you every other day, okay? You can't imagine a life where you actually powerful, right? And you got sense, right? And you can actually run and control shit, right? Nope. You want to live in Fantasy Island where men who are not even wired for leadership, you want to keep putting the responsibility on him, right? So I would like to share my screen. Can I do that just to play?
Absolutely.
Okay. So
yeah, you can.
So give me a second. Let me pull it up. Right.
Hey, while you doing that, could you answer this question?
Mm-hmm.
So if a lady is getting more penis, does that make her weaker of a woman?
Yes, it does. Yes, it does. Because whatever that male has going on in his mind, which is always most often trauma and dysfunction, he inject that into her. He inject all that into her. Women are totally ignorant about life. They're totally ignorant about men. They're totally ignorant about energy. They don't know none of this. My people suffer from a lack of knowledge. That's what it's about.
So,
they don't know better. And
so
so
that
I'm
high
on.
body count is disturbing.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is. But women jump from man to man looking for something that men can't even give them, right? That men are bankrupt within themselves. But I'm going to play a few different things to show how it is counterproductive to try to force men and women to be together, right? That's your problem. You've been lied to and you're trying to make something unnatural be the norm. Okay, so let me come back to the screen and present. Okay, share my screen. Wait a minute, select screen window. What does it show on that side?
Just send it to me and I'll put it up.
Okay. All right. To Ruby?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay. I'm gonna send that to
man,
you.
If y'all enjoying today's content, man, like the video while we wait.
And before we move on, I do want to get Tony's understanding this while we pulling up the link or whatever. But Tony, what's your thoughts on Princella's take on this conversation? On his thoughts?
I can't disagree with her because she's talking from her lens, right? So,
but I mean, your thoughts.
Right. Well, my personal thoughts is that the narrative that she's speaking is drawing a bigger wedge in the procreation of human beings. Okay, you can't procreate without each other.
That's all they say.
And I also believe, from her what she's saying, okay, I cannot reproduce with a woman, and she cannot reproduce without a man. And what are we here for if we are not to build and reproduce? My legacy is sitting within the organizations that I built, that my kids will create generational wealth for my children to pass down. Okay. And procreation is not a bad thing. It's a great thing to create life. So I believe that any woman subscribing to the empowerment of women is a great thing, but not at the demise or minimizing the contribution of men. Now, again, if whatever ladies that, subscribe to, the empowerment of women is a great thing. You hear that from my mouth. I think it's great to empower women. I think that there's a marginal gap in pay and respect and dignity of the woman's. From my personal opinion, I think that it's very destructive on, to me, on minimizing, the procreation of life. I don't understand why that's a bad thing to make children, and there's no version of making children a bad thing. Now, do I think that there's irresponsible people out there that don't raise their children? Yes, but to me, it just sounds it doesn't. I've heard nothing that said in what she was saying that empowers men or women to procreate and build. Now, I did hear her say some things that was in alignment with, how men should be held accountable for their actions. And I did hear, I agree with some of the things that she said, because I wrote down the things that I agree with. But when you say, bow down and people being miserable that's married and all types of other stuff, and when you say that there's people that it's in conflict to have the nuclear family, I think that's a slippery slope to me, because there's a lot of people out here that are procreating, that are raising children the right way. And there's people who co-parent that raise children the right way. And give me an example of what higher accomplishment there is to make children.
Yeah. Well,
what is a greater accomplishment?
I just told y'all.
What greater accomplishment is it? What greater accomplishment is it to make children and to build? What legacy do you leave behind? If you're what greater accomplishment is there? I don't think there is a greater accomplishment than making children and to build an empire with a family, you can pass down generational wealth.
No doubt. So, Priscilla, what's your thoughts on that?
I wanna play that video.
Play that video.
And make sure the sound is rolling.
Dun, 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 dun.
We can't hear it.
Female brain and the male brain? Is there a bit
massive
really
difference?
Okay.
I published a study on 46,000 scans looking at male brains versus female brains, and it's like we're not even the same species.
Really?
It's their brains are so much busier than male brains, and generally they're healthier because they have more estrogen and they don't do quite the toxic things that male brains do.
Is that because they can develop a consequence, things like that? They can understand consequence more than male brain? The development of that thing is all part of it.
The prefrontal cortex,
right?
Their prefrontal cortex was way more active,
right?
Which actually why females make good leaders. Their executive brain, their frontal lobes, much more active than male brains, so they're often better at forethought, decision making, and collaboration and empathy. And guys struggle with that. And then if you hit a lot of soccer balls with your head, you really struggle with it, not consciously.
So 46,000 brain scans backing up what you see in the world. You see males struggling to quote unquote lead. You see it. You keep having conversations. They're not leading. They're not protecting because it ain't their job. It goes against their biological and neurological makeup. Because if that wasn't the case, we wouldn't keep having these conversations. You all are wrong. You want something that ain't real. You want something that only exists in your imagination. Okay? So all of the science is backing up what I'm saying. You all are functioning incorrectly. The system is flipped, putting men in unnatural positions that they cannot sustain. Okay? You can disagree with the facts that's blaring in your face all day, but if you do that, you just delusional, which is a mental illness. Crazy people don't know they're crazy. Okay? You get upset because the truth shatters your delusions. Okay? How often are we going to go against the science? Go against the facts. Go against what you see with your own eyes. The male is struggling for biological and psychological reasons, going against his own makeup. Women are fit for leadership. You have been lied to and conditioned to believe that that's the male's job. And every time they keep talking, what the males show you his cap is. He shows you that his cap is screwing and reproducing. Screwing and reproducing. What's the greatest accomplishment that you can have than to reproduce? If most males think that way, when life is more than just laying down on your back, thrusting, right? And popping out kids that you have to mentally, emotionally, and spiritually develop besides just creating them, right? Since life is more than that, the male can't even conceive anything outside of that. What's the greatest accomplishment? What's even better than producing kids and passing down generational wealth when most of y'all broke and broke-minded, don't even have the knowledge that the elites possess to be talking about passing down nothing. People are broke talking like they're elites. You're not. But all you want to do is fuck and reproduce because you know that that's your only biological purpose. And you can't think outside of that. And that's why males struggle with leadership, because leadership is a feminine character trait. They're feminine characteristics, and you need empathy and compassion to lead. And the male is ego-driven. He's selfish, thinking about passing his genes along. When we gonna stop centering the world around male egos? When? And when women gonna stop being lazy as fuck, giving up your divine responsibility to a male who ain't even capable, who struggle with doing it?
Can I give some statistics real quick? Let me say this real quick. Does anybody know what makes America the world's superpower? Do you know what creates influence in America? Can anybody tell me that?
They bullying and tactics.
Okay. All right. So I just pulled it up. Okay. All right. Economic strength, large, diverse economy, high GDP. 98% of that it was created by men. Technological advances, leading in technology advances to major technological companies. Okay. 92% of that are men. Military power, okay, world's most powerful military, okay, 98% of America's national defense is men, okay. Global influence, diplomatic and cultural influences, alliance and partnerships, leadership in international organizations. 87% are men. Innovation and entrepreneurial advances, cultural innovation, entrepreneurial spirits. 82% of that are men. Educational institutions, renowned universities, research, attractions, and global talents. Okay. 83% of that are owned and created by men. Okay. Resources on wealth. Now, y'all can look these stats up, write them all down. Political stability, cultural influences. So now, if you notice, she keeps centering on, the procreation of people. Well, in order for the world to create these things, you have to procreate. So my legacy to continue the 7 businesses that I own, okay, will be ran by my children that will have a economical impact on the world's GDP to make America strong. Now, I'm not talking about, I'm looking at the facts. This is all, if you .gov, look up nationalgdp.gov, look this stuff up, it'll tell you that a lot of these things, we keep going back and forth where we're saying, I said procreate and to build. Well, I mean, this is what the world runs on is the GDP. And America as the #1 superpower, which requires resources and people. So I don't know, man. I'm not going to say anything else, man. We wanted to go back and forth with facts. I wanted to listen before I responded. But again, I just want to land with this. Men need women and women need men, period.
Okay, we done?
What's your thought?
What's my thoughts? My thoughts is, #1, America has bullied everybody and enslaved their own people. That's #1.
You're right.
I agree
Number
with
two,
that.
okay, so to sit up here and call America a superpower who wields their resources off the backs of enslaved humans is a bastardized statement, okay? Right? Because now you're not being truthful, right? Number two, America and men have a history of stealing other people's creations. Now, if white folks can steal a motherfucking dance and a hairstyle and rename it, and they can steal musical creations, what make you think that they ain't stole creations by women and other males? So men who dominate the entire world take creations from other people and put their face on it. Because at the end of the day, the history shows that men take a lot of shit from women, right? So one of the things, who actually discovered DNA? It wasn't Watson and Crick, it was a woman, right? But they put their face on it, right? Hedy Lamarr is responsible for Wi-Fi, right? She's responsible for Wi-Fi. There was a guy that I knew, right, specifically, who worked for General Motors, and he let it be known that General Motors took his shit and rebranded it as their own. He was an engineer, right? So saying what people create, knowing that patents have been stolen, and men bully people. If they're bullying other men, you know they bullying and stealing from women. So to say that men created everything, eliminating the contributions of women, when studies show that men took a lot of shit from women, they got a lot of their inspiration for women. I'm sorry, but your argument just don't hold up, right? And then we talk about cell phones and shit, and coltan needing to be used for us to operate this electronic shit. How they getting it? How they getting the coltan? Enslaving African children. So this lie about United States being a superpower, as if they did this shit on righteousness, let's keep it a buck. It's men who are using their brutal and wicked ways to enslave the world and steal the world's resources. Now, America's such a superpower, but now we got BRICS, right? And everybody is insecure about what's going to happen to the damn dollar, right? Because at one point it was backed by gold. Then it was backed by oil. Them bullying other countries, and other countries are tired of they fucking bullying. And they pulling out. Are you sure America is an actual superpower, or are they a slave nation that bully other countries and try to keep them slaved?
110%. 87% of the world is interdependent on America's a dollar. So the U.S. dollar is backed. The entire world is backed by the U.S. dollar.
Explain BRICS.
Okay. Well, what you explain BRICS.
No. Okay. You know what you
explain it.
No,
what
sir.
I'm saying to you is, again, hold on just a second. You're talking to someone who served 20 years in the U.S. Marines. Okay, that was in Afghanistan and Iraq. Okay, so all of the stuff that you're saying, and you're sitting in the comfort of your home, is because of what America has to do, so you can come on here and spew your narrative when you don't know what you're talking about in regard to the world's GDP.
Sir,
so America
explain BRICS.
America is the #1 superpower.
And okay? I want you to understand.
I don't care what you think or what you may assume. But you're sleeping in the comfort of your home right now, getting on the microphone because of what the world's boogeyman had to do, so you can come on here and bash men. I don't care what you say.
Do you know I served in the military too, sir? You know I served in the military too. You know I served 8 years.
Get my mic. Listen, if you're gonna mute my mic, then cool. I haven't muted your mic once. Okay, so this is the exact thing that I'm talking about.
Muting what mic?
So again. America has done a bunch of stuff to make sure that we stay #1. Okay. I was there. All right. I know what we had to do. So when people come on here and they complain, and do all of those things about, America doing X, Y, and Z, Yes, look at me. I have done things that I would do again, okay, for the comfort of my children and my family, which any person should do. So you're absolutely right. We are the world's boogeyman, and I proudly will say that without even hesitating. Okay, all right. So when we get into political talks and everything else, China, not a threat. Russia, not a threat. Name one other country you would rather live in right now and do what you're able to do and say what you're able to say.
Okay, it's my turn to talk.
Ooh-wee.
All right. First and
Yes,
foremost,
ma'am.
sir, I served in the military too, 8 years, and I got commissioned as an officer. Okay. So I don't know why you think you're trying to bow up on me. Okay. Now, you say the American dollar is worth such and such. Explain BRICS. BRICS. Explain that, because I see you Googling a lot of shit, and you know what? The only thing I had to Google was definitions for y'all, right? So that I can say them verbatim. You gotta Google facts. You gotta Google stuff, because you know what? You unlearned, you unstudied. You Googling a bunch of shit. Explain BRICS. Google that. I'll wait.
Again, listen, you keep going back and forth on saying explain stuff. Explain what I just asked you to do, because you haven't answered any questions.
Sir, explain BRICS.
You keep
because I asked you first, sir. I asked you first.
I asked you a question about your father that you didn't answer.
Sir, because it ain't subjective. I ain't answering subjective questions. Let's keep it factual. Okay. Stay out my personal life. And I'm trying to stay out yours. I'm trying to stay out yours, homeboy. Google BRICS. Google BRICS.
I asked you a simple question about America's GDP. Okay.
Sir, you've been Googling the entire time. Google BRICS.
I'm working.
Well, you wasn't working.
What's up, y'all? So most people struggle with sales. A lot of us in real estate, and we struggle with our sales. We struggle with follow. We struggle with leads, and we just basically missing out on deals. For me, I just got on Taskify CRM. They send messages out for you. And look, a lot of us have work. When you get off of work, you have hot leads ready for you. Make sure you check out Taskify CRM. I'm telling you, it automatically replies for you. And look, it sends you multiple messages. Like we're talking about drip campaigns, so you're not missing up on the lead follow-up. So make sure you check out Taskify CRM. Use coupon code NoStingyEnergy to get 10% off. I'm about to show y'all inside my CRM so I can see how it really works. Make sure y'all check it out. Peace.
Hey, I don't know how that happened. You know what I'm saying?
Hello? Me neither.
Y'all make sure y'all check out Testify. Yeah, we can hear you now.
Okay. Now, what was she saying? Again, I talked about the American GDP. Okay, we keep going back to, you said you served in the U.S. military. Okay, so you would know that what we do. Okay, and thank you for your service, by the way. You would know exactly what we do, what we have had to do in order for us to stay number one. So again, I'm asking you a question. Do you believe that America is a superpower? Yes or no? And what have you had to do serving in the U.S. military in regard to our contribution to America's GDP? I already told you what it was.
Sir, you failed. I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
You failed to comprehend that my message is changing how society's functioning, because society and the world is going down because of male greed and male brutality. Okay. All right. That's the first thing. And so all you're doing is proving my point about the nature and the psychology and behavior of men, right? And their quote unquote superpower is through bullying. It's through aggression. It's through hoarding resources. Okay. And enslaving people. This is not a world that is sustainable. It's not. So like I said, you brought up the so-called power of the United States dollar, which is actually tanking, right? And the only thing that was keeping that motherfucker afloat was their connection to the Middle East and the oil. They pulling that shit out and they controlling their own stuff. So you have countries coming together to pull out from using the US dollar. So since the US dollar is backed actually by other people's natural resources, The United States. The
American
United
dollar
States
is backed by fiat.
Sir,
it's fiat. You're wrong though. If
sir,
you're going to talk political, you don't know what you're talking about, because we have natural resources.
Sir, stop.
That's not true.
Sir, stop. Let me finish. But first of all, fiat currency and fractional reserve banking is basically putting numbers in and pulling money out of thin air, which ain't backed by. Sir, let me stop you.
What is the American dollar backed by?
If you do not stop interrupting me, because your ego is on fire, okay?
Because you don't know what you're talking
about. I'm not, sir, knocking your ass across I got you from wall to wall, right? Okay. From the window to the wall. Right. Shush. Damn
You're right. You're right.
Okay.
You're right. You have no clue what you're talking about.
Sir,
the American dollar is the number one currency.
Sir, your ass is clearly unlearned on bricks. You clearly don't know nothing. And you, sir, I'm whooping your ass. Just be quiet. Okay.
I'm glad that you think that.
Yeah. No. Everybody can see it. Now I'm gonna ask you one more time, sir. You've been Googling this entire show. Get your ass on the keyboard and get to typing. Type in BRICS. What is it? Please just read it to us.
Okay, here you go. Let me turn my camera around. Because see, what you're not gonna do is disrespect me and act like I don't know what BRICS is. I was in the military.
What you tell
BRICS
me?
BRICS was actually started. Hold on, let me turn my camera around. Let me show you what I'm doing right now. Realist. Okay, I'm doing a cloud CMA for a client that's buying a property.
I don't want to hear these damn excuses. What the hell is BRICS?
Realist. This is something. This is what a $28 million business looks like. Realist. Okay, working while don't nobody have to. Realist. Okay, so you can act all goofy and stuff like that. Do you have a $28 million business? Do you have a $28 million business? Do you have a $28 million business? I'm asking you a question. I do. Do you have $28 million in the bank?
When your ass getting intellectually handed, I've got more money. I got more money. My dick bigger than yours. Sir, Google bricks. Google bricks. I don't want to hear that shit. Google bricks.
Let me finish. I'm not going to interrupt you. I want you to listen to this, okay? One thing that I can show you is this. $28 million in the account that I built, okay? Show me that, okay? Now,
just say you don't know nothing about bricks, bro.
Wait. Listen. Don't nobody have to Google anything, but when I ask you questions, I don't have to Google anything to know what bricks was. You know why? Because I was over there in the military when it was happening, okay? So don't nobody have to do that, okay? Brazil, India, China, Russia, and Saudi Arabia. No, South Africa. So that's what BRICS is. It's a conglomerate of countries that decided to get out of a system to push their political and ideological goals in order to push their to combat NATO. That's what BRICS is, and it started way before that. They was already in alignment to get out of that system so they can create their own currency and money. This was I was in Africa when this was happening. So listen, I was in the military when all of this stuff was happening. So you can attack and do all of those other goofy things. I'm a military dude. I was in the military for 20 years, 1996 to 2016. I was in South Africa when they were talking about BRICS, before it was even public. Everybody know, and before that, it was called BRIC. It wasn't BRICS. They didn't add to South Africa until the end. So when you try to talk about military, come on, man. 20 years, U.S. Marine Corps, 1996 to 2016. So you can hurl these attacks, but when I ask you a question, you don't want to answer it. Where's your father? That's what I want to ask you. Where's your father? Why are you attacking men? Why are you attacking procreation? What's the problem with men having children? What's the problem with men building? Okay? Doesn't have to be no ego thing. I'm asking you a simple question. Everybody on the app know that you bash women. I bash men. And you draw a wedge between procreation. You said, you talked about people being unread. Okay, I have an MA and an MBA. Okay, you talk about people not knowing about the American dollar, which is incorrect. Okay, the American dollar is backed by the U.S. economy. I mean, and the entire world depends on the US dollar. See, what you don't know is that people like Tesla, okay, if you really want to talk about it, the reason why people like that is creating returnable rockets is to bring back sensitive information so we stay current on what's going on. People think that he's making cars. Look up Elon Musk and see what he's backed by. The US government and how many government contracts that he has. He's going up in the universe, collecting information and bringing it back. America is backed on our soft power, our economy, and our US dollar. And the entire world is backed by that. You can't deny that. Our economy is still strong, okay? We're the #1 leading economy in national defense, okay? Soft power and economical influence. Stop it. Who's number 2 and 3? China, Russia? If China was a superpower, right? Then when was the last time you saw China in a war? Because of proxy. They can't sustain a war. Do you know why? Because they import everything. China cannot sustain a war. Why do you think that they've never been in? They can only do proxy wars. Russia, look at them. You know what their issue is? Russia has a big issue with being able to resupply. Look at how they're getting their butt kicked by Ukraine. Come on, man. You cannot talk military politics with me and talk about brick at first and then call bricks. Okay? You keep saying and making these analogies that people are Googling stuff. You're the one looking up monkey books. Please, man, miss me with that, man. Come on, man. Show me what you're building and how you're creating for people. That's what I want to know. How are you creating or building for people? I'll show you how I'm creating and building for people. Okay? But stop with the attacks. I'm not attacking you. Just debate with facts. Because since you've been on the app, I haven't heard anything, no scientific data from .gov that shows any factual thing of what you're saying. Men are creators and women are multipliers. Now, what else do you want to know about bricks?
Boy, that was a hell of a display of a bruised ego, boy.
Ain't nobody got
No, shit, be quiet, be quiet. Now, be quiet now, homeboy. Boy, your ass was stuttering like a motherfucker, tripping over your words, trying to read this shit, and didn't want to say that these countries was pulling out the goddamn US dollar, the weak ass dollar, right? I ain't gonna lie, boy, this shit was comical.
Google the #1 economy right
now. Baby. My monkey books, right?
Monkey books.
Yeah, that's right. My monkey books came after your ass pulled out your book. Okay, and so I just gave you some more data, and I'm just over here tagging your damn ego from the window to the wall, just bashing you up. And hey, man, I get it. You got to stand in delusion land. I get it, right? But all you had to do was do what you've been doing and just Google. That's all you had to do. I got my dick bigger than yours. That's right. My dick bigger than yours. I got $28 million. Sorry, nobody. That's ego talk, right? Well, your dad, that's ego, right? All you had to do was Google like you've been doing, right? That's all you had to do. So everything else that you said after that shit was just comical. It ain't even nothing to respond to, because the reality is you really ain't even been listening the entire time. You've been on the defense the entire time. And it's cool. But I tell you what, you woke me up because I was tired as hell, because I was supposed to be here at 6:30 when y'all started. I was still in my bed asleep. I woke up. I was like, oh, man, the show started. And I was still sleepy up until the point that you said that. Baby, you got me wide awake. That was funny. I love it. You're right. I don't have a dick. So what's the point of acting like your dick is bigger than mine? Huh? Trying to bow up on a woman, right? Yo, baby, I live for this shit. I live for it. I love it, right? So if y'all want to keep intellectually boxing, come on, right? Because I'm built for this. I'm built for this, right? So I'm going to need you to go back in your study hall, okay? I'm going to need everybody, since this is a Christian audience, I'm going to need you to bow your head and say a prayer for your main man up here. Lord Jesus, please bless Tony's soul, because he just got a bunch of Tommy Hearns knots upside his head today. And I appreciate everybody giving me the opportunity to do it. Please let him heal righteously and expeditiously. Thank you, Lord.
Yo.
What have you
Oh my
created?
God. We can't hear you, Tony. We can't hear you. Your
I'm
mic
trying
is.
to figure out what she created, man. But some nonsense. I wish I could share my screen. Can y'all hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Oh, that was good,
Yeah,
man.
we can hear you.
Let me recap, man, so we can close out the personal attacks and all of that other stuff. I'm comfortable with people who have no security with themselves. Okay, typically when people are insecure about themselves, they hurdle little entertainment things. But again, you can't debate that America's GDP is the #1 GDP in the world. Okay, you can't debate that procreating a family is a bad thing, and you can't debate that building an empire for a legacy is not the way to go. Okay, now you can say all that you want. You had China, the leader of China, okay, come on and say we don't want any problems with America. You know, the reason why they were doing that. Do you know the reason why they did that? And I'll post this link in the chat, guys. Do you know the reason why? Do you know the reason why China did that? Is because one of the $1 trillion company, Apple, was pulling out their chip creation from China, and they were putting it in India, okay, and Mexico, starting to manufacture phones there, right? So you had all of the world leaders meeting together specifically because, you know, America has the power, bro. At the end of the day, America has the power. So people can go back and forth and say all of these things and all of these insults. Everything that I did, and I showed facts. America's GDP is #1. We're the #1 superpower. And also, again, I'm not bashing women. All I'm saying is women need men and women need men. And men need women to procreate and to build with. That's been my narrative since day one. How is that? Since the beginning. Now, we keep going back and forth over, okay, let me tell you, all right? 27 days after 9/11, I was in Iraq. Afghanistan, okay? Afghanistan, into Bagram, okay? 2002, the first push into Fallujah, okay? Africa, Ramadi. I've been there to these places when they were doing all of these things. And yes, you're absolutely right. America is a bully. I'll be the first to tell you, we will do everything that we're supposed to do to continue to remain the world's superpower. And some of it ain't great. But guess what? The reason why I did all of that stuff is so people like you, can come on here and bash men and read monkey books, okay? And say that people are unread and uneducated. You know, how about, you know what I would like to hear? You know what would be great is that if we would say, you know what, sister, I'm proud of you that you're helping people get into STEM. I'm not here to beat you up. I'm here to build with you. And if the conversation is a debate of who has the most power, I'm not interested in that. You know what I'm interested in? How can we network? How can I network with you to see how we can build something together instead of tearing each other down? That's the problem. Because you don't see white folks doing this. It's only us. You don't see white folks saying, a white woman and a white man debating on who built what and who has the power, and saying men have, act and think like monkeys. It's insane, man. If you want to build with me, sister, let's connect. That's what I want to do. You show me what you're doing, I'll show you what I'm doing, and maybe we can be in complementary to each other to forward the Black community, okay? Versus debating on who has what, or who has done what, or who contributed more to the society. Again, I stand firm on women need men and men need women. There's no version of it that's outside of that.
All right, Playboy.
Appreciate you, Tony, man.
Tony the Tiger. He's great. He's great. Look, what I tell you about what I tell you about the male psychology. What did he talk about? What I tell you males are trapped in? The lower nature. What was his conversation? Power, sex, and ego. Superpower. We superpower. Power, sex. The greatest thing we could do is to produce kids. Ego. I got $28 million. in my bank account, my dick bigger than yours, power, sex, ego. They can't get out of it. And all you got to do is let the man talk and he gonna dig himself into a damn hole. He gonna dig himself into a hole. Y'all better stop letting all these other men talk. The only person y'all should be letting talk is Byron. Because Byron is the only one that got some damn sense about, hey, man, look, times is changing, yo. I don't think these relationships gonna work the way they work. You know, my wife, she can stand on her own. I know I need to be wanted. Ain't about need. She want me. Y'all need to focus on being wanted and stop trying to beg people and bully people into needing your ass, trying to do it through fear, domination, bullying, and control. Power, sex, ego. He can't get out of it.
Man.
Now, I done had more conversations. I done had more conversations with Byron than I have had with O'Neal. So because of that, I know Byron's mentality. So that's why I say you need to let Byron talk. Because y'all, all y'all other dudes, y'all getting buried. You getting buried.
I think Tony trying to talk. Hold on.
Your mic is not connected, Tony.
Hey, there you go. You back.
Okay. No matter what this young lady says, it's never going to be right. Okay. So whatever you can debate by yourself. And listen, keep listening to a woman like that. You're going to be by yourself. Okay. And you're going to be raising children. You're not going to have any children. We're not going to have anybody to help you guys build. Okay. So faith, family, and then, building. Okay. Faith. There's nothing faith about not saying about the nuclear family. Okay. Building, procreating. These are all great things, man. I don't see what's wrong with that. Okay. You can paint the picture of what you want to say about me, but yeah, I'm proud of my success. You're damn right I am. I work very hard to get to where I am. And guess what? I do believe that a man's responsibility is to lead, protect, provide, and create and build. Okay. Absolutely. Outside of that, what else is he supposed to do? What else is he supposed to do? Okay. So I'm unwavering in that, and I'm gonna stand 10 toes down. And I'm comfortable with being on the stage and debating with you. And some of the stuff I agree with you. But again, you missed the part where I said, "Hey, let's collaborate and see how we can build together." And then you reversed and went back to,
You wanted me to stop bouncing on your ass. That's what that was about.
If you're comfortable with that, okay, that's cool, man. Whatever. If you're focusing on, being right. Okay. This is not about being right or wrong. This is about building together. I thought this is what this conversation was about. What in your conversation is about building with the Black man?
What?
Baby. Priscilla, do you think that's possible? Do you think it's possible for a man and a woman to build together?
Black man?
Hold on. Let me tell you something. When there's a mission, right, that is leading, right, it ain't the male or the female that quote unquote leads. It's the mission that comes first. So the question is, what is the mission? The male's mission is to protect his ego. I can't help you build your ego. I'm not interested in that. So no, because that's what you're leading with, and you're not leading from a place of compassion and a place of supporting life for all of humanity, sir. No, we can't work together if it's about building your ego so you can stand up on somebody to say, I'm the big dog. No, we can't work together because that ain't the mission that is going to sustain and nurture life. That's not going to That's not going to help people who are broken, hungry, and displaced in this messed up society. See, your ego, right? Building your pocket. See, that's what capitalism is about. Hoarding resources, dominating competition or the small guy, and practically bullying people. That's what that's about. And you know what, you know who nature that come out of? That come out of men's nature. And no, I'm not trying to help you do that because people are hurting all over the globe because of these lies and these messed up belief systems. So if the mission ain't helping humanity, right? Where everybody needs to do their part to become whole versions of themselves, where it's about other people and not trying to extend your lineage and having somebody be a slave to help raise your children when the world is suffering. Hey man, I ain't trying to hear that. I ain't trying to do that. We can't work together if it's about building your ego.
Okay, thank you. I haven't heard what the mission was.
My mission, here's the thing. You know, I got almost 80,000. I'm gonna hit 80,000 subscribers today. And you know what? 90, thank you. 95% of my audience is women. Guess what that means? That I don't cater my message to men. And I'm sorry that I don't cater a message to tell you how you fit in my world, right? Your job is to build yourself up, not for me to help you, okay? Not for me to, okay, ladies, go and help men. No, y'all are the ones who are half human, okay? Right? You missing half of yourself because you don't have access to the feminine counterpart, right? You need women. So unless you're talking about being a doer, a gopher, you go do, right? Unless you're talking about being submissive to the feminine and the collective with the mission of nurturing and sustaining life around the planet, unless you're rocking and rolling with that, your ego ain't gonna let you do that. Your ego ain't gonna let you be no simp, the simp that you're supposed to be, right? It ain't gonna let you do that. So here's the thing. You ain't in my plans. I'm sorry. I help women, okay? I don't send my message around y'all.
Hold on, I think trying to say something else. Hold on. I don't know what that. There you go.
That's the
conclusion.
Now? That's the conclusion that I wanted to hear, man. Thank you for that. I want to help everybody. So if you want help, y'all let me know. Women and men included. You know, I want to have an impact on. I want to employ and build businesses with men and women. Okay.
What's the objective of the business?
Excuse me, respectfully, I'm talking. Thank you.
Yeah.
I want to be able to build. I'm building an empire for men and women. I have a son and a daughter. You know, I have we have women and men that are making an impact on today's society. Okay, by teaching generational wealth through building an empire by taking advantage of stuff of disenfranchised people. Okay, so the leadership looks like, you know, Constance Carlisle. Look her up. She's a partner, a Black woman from Toledo. Okay, Annette Robinson. She's a partner, a Black woman that is a person making a huge impact into the organizations that we do. I'm not here to help. I'm not here to just build with men. I want to build with men and women and be the example of what leadership looks like. Okay. And it's not just hyper focused on one genre. And I think that you're doing an outstanding job if you have 80,000 people that are subscribing. And I hope that you make a positive impact. And I'm pretty sure that you are. What some of the stuff that you say, like I said, again, I agree with. But some of it, you know, it just doesn't fit the direction that I'm going in. And that's okay. We can agree to disagree.
Yeah, I didn't come here to agree with nobody or disagree, right? I just came here because first of all, I was invited, right? Okay, because this is what I do, right? And me, Byron, and O'Neill, we cool, right? So they invited me.
Too. I mean, you got a new friend.
Hold on, they invited me on the show to give my perspective because guess what? What I'm doing, my movement, and what I'm doing for women is gaining attention. And y'all ain't gonna be able to help but to see what I'm doing, okay? Right? You're not gonna be able to ignore it because the loss of access to women is gonna make men pay attention to what's happening. So I don't have to focus my message on men because guess what? Men go wherever the women at. Men follow women, even though they try to claim that they lead. No, everywhere that woman go, you go. So you can't help but to focus and pay attention to me. And my message means something because women are flocking to me by the boatloads, right? So that's just what it is, right? And so what is it that I'm doing for women, right? You should want to hear what I'm telling women. Because if you keep ignoring it, you're going to wake up one day and you're going to learn by consequence, which is the only way that males learn. It's through consequence. Not talking, not giving them your energy, not pleading with them to understand you. It's walking the hell away. That's what men understand. Men understand clank, clank, closing them legs. Men understand being ignored by women. That's what the fuck they understand, right? They don't understand. Can we just work together? I'll give you everything. Baby, I'll suck your dick. I'll stay here. I give my whole life up for you. Ooh. They don't understand that. They use that though. They suck you dry. And then once you suck dry, they move on to the next. Stop acting like that ain't what's happening. Stop acting like that ain't real life. Get out of delusion land. I don't want to talk about no delusion. All right? I don't want to talk about coulda, shoulda, woulda, because if was a fifth, we'd all be drunk. All right.
You got a point. Women will follow the men. That's true. I
ain't say that. I ain't say that. I said men go wherever women go. You have piss po listening skills. I mean, because everything I say, you flip it into something that I didn't say. Like earlier, you said that I said that men don't get their validation from women. That ain't what I said. Men depend on being validated by women because biologically they depend on women choosing them to pass their genes along. So men heavily depend on women for a lot of stuff, and men go wherever the women go. Why you keep flipping what I'm saying into something that I didn't say? I don't understand. I don't know why you keep doing that.
Thank you very much. Anybody else on stage?
Today was a good show, man.
Yeah, I agree.
It was good content, man. We got to get out of here, man. 10 a.m., man.
Let me know if you need my support.
Shout out to Dr. O, man. Shout out to Dr. O. Shout out to Dr. O on that super sticker, man. We love that. If y'all enjoyed today's content, make sure y'all like the video. Share it with a few friends. I'm sure Princella will be talking about it again tonight or tomorrow. When you going live again, Princella?
What's today? Today?
Cause I ain't gonna lie. You told Corey ass up.
Man, I told everybody up. I told Corey ass up. I just told Ryan Clark ass up. Okay. After he backtracked on the shit that he would do. I told Simone Biles up. I tear everybody up, right? I don't even understand why people keep getting in the ring with me. Like untrained. Like, do y'all not know what I'm out here doing? Y'all better stop, because we are going into the age of Aquarius, baby. We finna move into January. Pluto is going into Aquarius, okay, for the next 20 years. That means that the veil is being lifted. That means we are in the era of knowing and not believing no more. And if you can't handle truth, you're going to suffer, period. So I don't know why people keep getting in the ring with me and losing, because I keep doing the same thing to all these men. And that's the reason why women are following me, because I'm beating you up with the truth that you cannot run from. And then I back it up with science that is irrefutable. So it's best that y'all bow down, because let me tell you what you're supposed to bow down to. Knowledge, wisdom, and understanding is the leader, not your Peter Whacker, not your ego. Knowledge, wisdom, and understanding is the ruler. You bow down and you submit to truth, period, right? So I'm going to let y'all go ahead and go. But you have been a great sport, Tony, and everybody else that was up here too. I have enjoyed y'all's company. And and Byron, Lord have mercy, I love your facial expressions. You can't even hold it in. I can see it all in your eyes. And O'Neal, you was great sport. I just love your smile, brother. Y'all are fantastic, magnificent host. And
I don't have a new friend.
I appreciate them nice words, Pete.
Yes.
I got a new friend.
Absolutely.
Yes. Right. Hey, look, man, it's a good sport, man. Listen, we cool, Tony. Ain't no hard feelings. We cool, brother. I need you to go ahead and make 30 million, and I need you to pop out some more kids. All right. So that way you can feel more valuable. All right. Listen, y'all be good. I'll see y'all later.
Absolutely.
Princella, we appreciate you.
Tony,
Tony, we appreciate you, man.
Yeah.
We got so today is officially, man, last day on Clubhouse. So if y'all want to see more from us, man, Tuesdays and Thursdays, 6:30 a.m. Central Standard Time, we're gonna be right here, man.
Yes,
so we're
indeed.
officially done with the Clubhouse situation. But I enjoyed today's content, man. We had some truth, we had some facts, we had a few monkeys, chimpanzees. We had a lot of things going on, bro.
Yeah. Yeah,
what
it
I'm
was a
saying? If
great
y'all enjoyed
conversation.
this content, make sure y'all like and share the video, man. Like and share. What was your thoughts, man? What was your final thoughts?
Man, I thought it was a good conversation. It was a lot of diversity in the conversation, which I appreciate. You know, a lot of diversity of thought. Everybody didn't agree, and I like that because I felt like we were able to kind of gain a little bit more clarity on this intense topic. What I do know for a fact, though, is that what we doing ain't working. Right? I don't have the answer. I don't have the solution.
You talking about men?
Relationships ain't working.
Okay.
Yeah, they're not working the way that they need to be working. And we need to figure something out to be able to fix that. And so it is what it is. I ain't saying I got the answer. I ain't saying that we figured it out all today, but something needs to be done. That's what I think.
Just some information provided, some good conversation.
Yeah.
If y'all enjoyed the video, the content, the show, man, don't forget to subscribe, like the video. We'll be back here on Tuesday, man. If y'all want to join the family, man, look, join button is right next to the subscribe button. They got 3 different levels. Every level come with different things, and then you also get discount on the merch. You got Trailblazers, Visionary, Legacy. Got different things with each one. Make sure you go on nostingyenergy.com to grab you some merch. I got the mustard color on right now. Feel good. Nice material. It ain't the hard material. Make sure you go grab you some merch. And we'll see y'all, man, Tuesday morning. We'll be back. Appreciate y'all. Sit right there. Check it out. So you grab you that mustard nice.
What's up, y'all? So most people struggle with sales. A lot of us in real estate, and we struggle with our sales. We struggle with follow, we struggle with leads, and we just basically missing out on deals. For me, I just got on Taskify CRM. They send messages out for you. And look, a lot of us have work. When you get off of work, you have hot leads ready for you. Make sure you check out Taskify CRM. I'm telling you, it automatically replies for you. And look, it sends you multiple messages. Like we talking about drip campaigns, so you're not missing up on the lead follow-up. So make sure you check out Taskify CRM. Use coupon code NoStingyEnergy to get 10% off. And I'm about to show y'all inside my CRM so I can see how it really works. Make sure y'all check it out. Peace.